Thank you so much for spending some of your morning with us right here on the AM show on Joy News. Good morning. My name is Sweetie Abochi and I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. In this midweek edition of the show, we have, of course, the news in a bit. And after that, we'll be serving you the newspaper review segment. We'll be joined today by Dr. Kwame Asasante, the head of European Studies at the University of Ghana. And then Muftan Abil Abdullahi will come next with AM Sports, of course, bringing you the latest stories in the world of sports. And then the conversations, the big stories begin. Now, the National Commission for Civic Education begins inter-party dialogue committees nationwide. The committees are to identify early warning signals, serve as mediators among political parties on disagreements that have the potential to escalate into violence. But can this strategy be the antidote for the peace we require going into elections 2024? We will interrogate this issue. Also, a shelter for head porters to provide them skills training for a more meaningful life. To what extent can this fulfilled promise by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, work to change the lives of these females, popularly known as Kayayei? That happened yesterday, and we'll bring you details and updates, and as well as interrogate the policy right here on the AM show. And on AM Business today, of course, because today is Wednesday, Ghanaian products are unable to penetrate the international market due to the high cost involved in packaging and labeling. James Ishen will tell us more on that front. So, welcome aboard the AM show. Join us with your comments, of course, and your thoughts either via phone or across all social media platforms at Joy News on TV. Now, let's get into the news that matters to you. This is the AM News. Welcome to the program. Details now. The majority leadership say claims by the NDC that the government is illegally recruiting NPP foot soldiers into the security agencies are just attempts by the NDC to inflame tension ahead of the 2024 election. Minority Leader Dr. Kasela Toforson alleged on Monday, without providing evidence, that all NPP parliamentary candidates have been given 30 slots each to pack the security agencies. Addressing journalists in Parliament, Deputy Majority Leader Patricia PJ warned the NDC against false claims that could destabilize the country's peace and security.
The claims by Dr. Kasela Toforson, the minority leader, are a deliberate distortion of reality and a malicious fabrication aimed at undermining the integrity of the government. Such allegations serve only to provoke unwarranted tensions and foster an environment of mistrust and political rivalry that our country does not need. Our respected Interior Minister, the Honorable Korte, has already outlined the government's recruitment strategy, which focuses on giving a second chance to qualified Ghanaians who previously applied but were not selected. This approach is not only fair, but also thoughtful, avoiding unnecessary financial burdens on applicants by not reopening the recruitment process widely. We urge the minority to refrain from spreading misinformation and to respect the intelligence of the Ghanaian public. Such tactics are beneath the dignity of our democratic processes and could potentially endanger the peace and the security of our nation.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has conceded that despite the myriad of challenges the free senior high school program is going through, It has, however, been able to take care of over 1 million students at the senior high school who otherwise would have dropped out. Interacting with members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs and Queen Mothers, he disclosed the maize from poor background of students benefiting from the program are of poor background and from the 5 regions of the North. Join News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia began his last day of his 2-day campaign tour of the Upper West region with a breakfast meeting with the leadership of the clergy to inform them about his vision for the country. He enumerated over 30 policies that he has carried out as Vice President, which are of enormous benefit to the people. On the free senior school policy, he stated that despite the challenges that it has been dealt with, but it has gotten mass of students into senior high schools which otherwise would have dropped out. He disclosed that the 5 northern regions are the biggest beneficiaries of the policy.
Perfect. They still have issues to deal with it, there's no doubt about it. But one of the things I like about it has increased opportunities to go to school. In 2016, you had only 800,000 students in senior high school. 800,000. That means for the 60 years of independence from 1957 to 2016, 60 years of independence, you have 800,000 population in senior high school.
Away from that, the chiefs and people of Achiame traditional area are calling for a peaceful coexistence among the leadership of the various traditional areas in Anglo State. They insisted that traditional leaders should focus on the development of their various areas as envisioned by the Awomafia Togbi Sri III. Togbi Kasu III from Gafia, Kota, made this known when he addressed a press conference at Dagbamate.
Togbi Kasu explained that the Achiame and some 15 other traditional areas were created with their respective chiefs elevated to the paramount chief status in 2016. He therefore questioned the intention of some chiefs to undermine their compatriots who had been elevated to supersede the development of their areas.
It is significant for us to state that Togbi Sri, in his wisdom and as bestowed on him by the customary and traditional settings of Anglo, decided to create paramountcies and traditional areas in Anglo so as to bring development to the communities and to the doorsteps of the people.
He explained that the Achiame traditional area and its leader, Togbi Samalafu, have long existed and were identified during the colonial era.
To set the record straight, Togbi Samalafu was recognized as first war captain from Aveno with 600 fighting men in the Quitas Political Conference Report number 14/85, dated 18th June 1885. Please see Appendix 4. This was tendered in court and was never challenged nor contested. Togbi Samalafu's name has been appearing in the Gold Coast Chief list with the earliest productions by the colonial administration.
He fought off claims that 2 traditional areas cannot be in a district, and also a traditional leader cannot owe allegiance to another in a different district or region.
There is no law that a paramountcy must be contiguous. Vuma traditional area and Tefle traditional area are 2 good examples. It is unknowledgeable and untutored to hold the idea that a paramountcy in a traditional area cannot owe allegiance to another stool in a different traditional area, council, or region. The law allows this. A case in point is the new Joben stool in Eastern region, owing allegiance to Golden stool in Ashanti region. It is worth mentioning the examples of the stools in Abesim in the Sunyani municipality and Chair in the Sunyani West district that owe allegiance to Doma stool in faraway Doma Hinkro.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Dagbamate.
And now, 2023 Joy News Impact Maker winner for the Bono region, Jefferson Kwasi Agbotro, and his organization, the Friends of Health Association, have rescued some mothers at the Sunyani Teaching Hospital and Sunyani Municipal Hospital by paying their medical bills. Speaking at the hospital, Ms. Agbotro said more needs to be done to ensure mothers and babies do not suffer additional burdens for their inability to honor their bills. He called for more support for the vulnerable. Precious Semevo has more.
The
joy of 10 mothers at the Sunyani Teaching and Municipal Hospitals in the Bono region. The mothers were rescued by the Friends of Health Association FOHA from their frustrations at the hospitals when they could not offset their medical bills after being discharged. The Chief Executive of FOHA and 2023 Joy News Impact Maker winner for the Bono region, Jefferson Kwasi Agbotro, said it is a call to duty to support the vulnerable in the society and therefore appealed for more support to enable them rescue more of such mothers.
We are looking at people who cannot afford because their parents are either not around without even a husband, and these are the most vulnerable people that we are looking at. And health and wellness is something that all of us must prioritize, that babies and children should not suffer in the hospital because they cannot pay their bills. The sickness itself is a problem. You have been discharged and you cannot pay your bill. So that one alone imposes another burden. So the social welfare contacted me, and I have to work it out, and we have been able to secure this support to help them. We are getting more people coming on board. We are making a case with the data that we have, asking and soliciting for more funding because this must not end here. So we want to expand to other facilities, especially in the hard-to-reach areas.
The Principal Social Development Officer at the Teaching Hospital, Diana Azuma, said patients owe the facility over 80,000 Ghana cedis.
The bills that are at our outfit right now is up to 80,000 that people have gone home and have not been able to pay. You call them too and they are not coming back to pay because they don't have it to be able to support the needy clients in the hospitals. So we plead that anytime someone think of donating, we are also here.
Acting Director of Administration of the Sunyani Teaching Hospital, Samuel Doji, in appreciating the gesture of FOHA, said the health insurance scheme is there to reduce patients' financial burden. He encouraged Ghanaians to register.
We do have a lot of patients that visit the hospital and are unable to settle their bills. And most of these patients too, they come without health insurance. So when they are discharged, payment of their bills becomes an issue. If you have health insurance and you patronize our services, I mean, you go home without paying anything, unless those that are not covered. But most of the services we provide, they are covered by health insurance. So I will encourage people, as Ghanaians, that this is a very good government initiative. So let's register with it, and some of these things will be avoided.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyani.
The Central Regional Health Directorate is urging health professionals in the region to treat hospital clients with the same care they would wish for their own relatives. According to the Health Directorate, such an approach addresses half of the client's challenges and enhances the reputation of healthcare facilities. Speaking at the 50th anniversary of the Elmina Polyclinic in the Central Region, Acting Central Regional Health Directorate, Dr. Agnes Anani, praised the facility for setting higher standards in patients' care. There's more in this Abdullah Usman's report, read to you.
The then Elmina Health Post was built by the people of Elmina, and since then, the facility has provided health service for the people of the Commander Edna Iguafu and the people of Elmina themselves. Through dint of hard work, sacrifices and dedication, the facility has grown from a health post to an urban health center and now a polyclinic. Speaking at the Golden Jubilee of the facility, Acting Central Regional Health Director, Dr. Agnes Anani, urged health professionals to do unto others what they want others to do unto them, so the country would have a better healthcare system that could stand the test of time.
This is service delivery and a service to mankind. We should try to have that compassion that everybody who visits the facility need. The way you want your relatives to be treated in other facilities, you should ensure that you do the same for our clients. If we let the system work perfectly, there will be no need to contact anybody when your relatives are going to facilities. Most of the time, when we are here working, but if our relatives are going to another facility, you want to make calls to ensure that they are best taken care of. The question is that if service delivery is up to the standard that we all want it to be, we will not make those calls. Therefore, as we launch this 50th anniversary, if there's anything that we have to take home, you should know that customer care for any facility is the ultimate. And we really need to ensure that we give that kind of customer care to our clients.
Medical Superintendent of the Elmina Polyclinic, Dr. Felix Darby, praised the communal spirit and support that have positioned where the hospital is at the moment.
Elmina Polyclinic's transformation over the past 50 years is a true example of a community working together to improve their own lives and taking charge of their own destiny. It is these efforts that has led to all the current services being provided, including our OPD services with specialized clinics like the dental clinic, the eye clinic, ENT, dietetics, including inpatient care with reliable oxygen, emergency services, and maternity services with cervical cancer screening, laboratory services, a blood bank, ultrasound units, pharmaceutical service, and soon to be added surgical services. Without the support of our stakeholders, none of this would have been possible, and I wish to sincerely appreciate all of us gathered here.
Representing the head of local government service, Dr. Nano Atuata, was Blessed Kwame Dake.
In the era where people are complaining about demeanor of our nurses and other health personnel, I see Elmina Polyclinic staff as a wonderful staff.
The management of the facility lauded the collaboration between the community and the hospital that has led to significant changes in the facility. It is their hope that the Golden Jubilee celebration will spur the facility on to achieve higher prospects. Abdallah Osman's report read to you.
The World Food Programme and the Ghana Meteorological Agency have inaugurated climate-conscious clubs in 10 senior high schools in the Oti region. The club is to promote green climate-conscious generation and ensure healthy cultural practices that would ensure a safer environment. There's more in the following report.
10 senior high schools in the Oti region have had green climate clubs inaugurated in their schools to ensure the environment remains greener for a healthy living and mitigate climate change effects on the environment. According to the World Food Programme, climate change could affect food security and increase hunger and malnutrition up to 20% by 2050. Hence, the need to inculcate into the younger generation climate-sensitive habits.
Climate change and climate-related disasters and shocks pose a particular threat to food security and nutrition. Findings from the 5th assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change indicate that climate change could increase the risk of hunger and malnutrition up to 20% by 2050.
The United Nations Food Programme says the Oti region is strategic for the launch this year because it is currently benefiting from its interventions in the agricultural sector and would help sustain the gains made so far.
The World Food Programme considers the choice of Oti region as very strategic and prudent because it is one of the regions that are currently benefiting from most of our interventions. Equipping these young ones with the requisite knowledge and skills to combat the effect of climate change is in the right direction, as it will lead to sustaining the investment made in the region. It is our hope and belief that these young ones will be the agents of change in their schools, communities, and Ghana at large. That these young ones will lead the campaign and war against climate change and help their parents to adopt climate-smart agricultural practices.
For the Ghana Meteorological Agency, there is low awareness and sensitization of climate issues among the youth.
One key development which the agency discovered in addressing climate and weather-related issues is the lack of sensitization among the youth. The opportunities to address this issue gave birth to the concept and formation of green climate clubs in high schools. The Green Climate Clubs seeks to give immense support to specific high school students to gain deeper knowledge and understanding on climate sustainability and environmental development.
For the Environmental Protection Agency, government and its agencies must go beyond the pageantry of planting trees to ensuring the trees are nurtured to ensure value for the investments made.
My concern is that the tree nurturing, it is what we have to talk about. You plant many trees. You have to make sure that you have a group, or there should be a group where they are interested in taking care of the trees is what we are interested in. EPA is interested in the number of trees which survive so that they can serve as carbon sink, not the pump and pageantry where we say we have going to plant this number of trees. At the end of the day, nobody goes in there, takes care of the trees, and all the trees die.
Peter Sanu for Joy News.
Coming up next is Business Update.
Well, thanks for staying for the business update. In our first story, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, is challenging claims that the country is losing out as a preferred place for doing business. This follows the exit of some multinational companies which have cited a challenging business environment as a major factor. But Mr. Grant argues that though some have gone out due to strategic reasons, some more firms are coming into the country.
Well, I mean, definitely everybody wants investors in their country. And as some are leaving, there are some coming. We seem to forget that. I mean, we've
more
seen
coming when others who are trying interested in this country are relocating.
They are not necessarily relocating. They are probably changing their business model and relocating some parts of their businesses where they feel they are easier things. But you mentioned tax. I'm sure you are aware of the Global Tax Convention. Yeah. That now, I mean, the minimum tax you pay anywhere in the world should be 15%. So that in itself will sort of equalize where you decide to locate. But like I said, opportunity, stability, peace, rule of law are such strong pull factors that even though some may have been here for many years and are now really looking and say, okay, maybe we should move our manufacturing to X and do our logistics in Ghana because it's more advantageous to do it here. Those are all parts of the equation. But, I mean, definitely we want more investors here because in the absence of bigger revenues from taxation and borrowing, the next area you're going to look is to bring investors in because they are the ones who are going to create the businesses that are going to employ people. So it's important. It's very, very important. And now we are constantly in talks with the Ministry of Finance.
In our next story, the German Development Bank operating in Ghana through the KfW has expressed its commitment to work closely with the Development Bank of Ghana to help in the stabilization and modernization of the Ghanaian financial system. According to the bank, by setting the right incentives for innovation, SMEs can thrive and compete globally. Speaking to Joy Business, the KfW country director, Arndt Wehrheim, said they were poised to support the right framework conditions to develop the most efficient and effective solutions for the Ghanaian economy.
The German Development Bank, we are operating in Ghana on behalf of the German Financial Corporation. In our close collaboration with DBG, we are supporting the stabilization and modernization of the Ghanaian financial ecosystem. We expect that by setting the right incentives for innovation, more SMEs can be financially supported. Enablers or facilitators such as KfW and DBG need to support the right framework conditions so that the market can develop the most efficient and effective solutions for the Ghanaian economy. Those solutions don't have to be the same as elsewhere, but must respond to the needs here while increase exchange with other countries in Africa and the world.
And that's it for the business news, the business updates this morning. Back to you, Sweetie Abochi.
Well, and on that note, we're wrapping up for the AM News. Up next, of course, is the newspaper review segment. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. Benjamin.
Welcome aboard the news review. I just wanted to stay still and see what would happen. I mean, it's all fun and games, but we're still very serious here. Time now for the news review with Sweetie Abochi, all decked in maroon. And did ECG take your light yesterday?
I had quite a morning, Benjamin.
You had quite a morning, huh? I can see it on your face.
I haven't had lights off for 2 weeks now, I think. And so I forgot about Doomsaw.
Yeah.
So I had no...
This was a reminder.
Nothing, you know, and then my lights was off.
Don't get too comfortable.
Anyways.
I think it's been pretty close to same for me. I mean, I like to admit when things are going well. I've not had a power outage for maybe a week and a half, like no power outage. And I keep saying that I don't know whether when I'm out of home, they do it. But for this period, I've not had a power outage.
One took me off guard.
It took you off guard.
My phone was off. There was no way of getting a ride. My car had a problem.
You remember the last time I sang the song? I have a power bank from Chair. You have to be careful.
One of those, Benjamin.
Anyway, here we go. Before I bring in the guest for this morning, you know how we do it on a Wednesday morning. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment as always. And they are still offering. For some of you, I've said this so many times, you're still not taking advantage of it. Don't wait for something to happen. What is here? So prostate screening, if you're a man, for free. That's what they are offering you. If you're a woman, fertility screening, for free, gratis. You'll pay zilch. Just head to any of their branches. Let's start with here in Accra. They are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Then in Kumasi, Chronoma Way here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takra de Anaji Estate. There's Tema Community 22. There's Tichiman Hanswa and there's Siama Enzima. You can reach them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. The end to chronic disease. You know, Sweetie, I was just contemplating if I had to mention the phone numbers in, you guess what, P or some other languages.
Are you that conversant in your local language?
And then you've been going on.
Oh, I know it. And you shake it. I know it.
It just came to mind and I found it hilarious while I was doing this. Anyway, let's usher in Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He's a political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies. But maybe today we are throwing the challenge to all our guests and to you out there. Can you count, let's say, from 0 to 10 in your local language?
That's easy. Let's make it 20. 1 to 10 is
in your local language?
Yeah. Let's make it 20. 0 to 20.
Do you know how many people?
Yeah.
Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, good morning.
Good morning, Ben, and good morning, my sister.
Good morning, Doc. It's good to see you.
Yes, but I want to tell you that I can count from 0.
I didn't want to put you on that spot. Doc, do you want to put us to the, put us to the sword, put us to shame? Do you want to do something for us this morning?
I'm sure he can go to 50 with no problem.
Oh, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
That's
well
great.
done. That's right.
I've given you 10.
Please, he's deserving of a round of applause. Anyway. Congratulations, Doc. Someone may say, but this is nothing. But you try some people out there, you realize that at least it means something. Anyway, as always, we're going to give you, before Sweetie Aboti gets into the papers, there are so many issues. I don't know which one you want to talk about, but over to you, Doc, in a minute and a half, and we come back into the studio.
Thank you for the opportunity once again. I want to talk about the EC and the apologies they've rendered relative to the figures they churn out and the graph and all there is to that issue. In free and fair elections, there are indices for measuring that. And part of it is what balloting, monitoring, and resource. That if you want to ensure free and fair election, you need to safeguard the way the balloting is done, the monitoring is done, and then the way you declare results. And tied to it is that you need to have a system that you are able to have all the ballot cast arranged properly, and then later you declare results reflecting on what people have expressed themselves in the area of voting. If there is an anomaly, you have created chaos. EC has churned out figures and then came back to say, look, we're sorry, it should have been this or that. This is not the first time we are seeing such a thing. You recall the last election, the EC gave out some figures only to turn around to amend them, or if you like, write a rejoinder to them. We are not interested in that, because as an election management body, they have to get it right at all times. No excuses. We don't want to accept that, because anything short of this will always compromise the election and create problems for people. Remember, the vote cast is nothing but the will of the expression of the people, what they want the world to see as how they have expressed themselves is what we see as the vote cast. So we want the EC to get the basis right. The apology, we are sorry. Sorry doesn't fix any problem. If there is a problem, fix it so that you don't say sorry. They will tell you that, oh, it's one of, problems of humanity and all that. Human beings, we are fallible, we can make mistakes. Look, even the mistake is one is bad enough to destroy the integrity of the election and to create problems for us. EC, please, we want you to get the basics right so that you don't apologize to us. The apology doesn't fix the problem. Fix the problem so that you don't apologize to us. That is what we want.
All right.
Anything short of it, is going to compromise the election, and you must rise above this and make sure that the election that we are going to have, we are not going to experience, mistakes that come from you, and we don't want a repeat of that. If you are short of people who can help you to do this in your office, please extend that hand to others who have the expertise. There are statisticians around. Get them together and then let them help you before you churn out the figure, and it should be fine now.
Okay.
The rejoinders and apologies are too many, and we don't want that, simply put.
The rejoinders and the apologies are too much, and they don't fix the problems. Points well made. Let's get into the newspapers now. Starting with a daily graphic. On the front page, Kayayei Empowerment Program launched. 5,000 female head porters targeted, 2 hostel facilities inaugurated. Waive taxes on public health commodities and medicines, the NCCE is saying. Invested petroleum funds appreciate to $1.24 billion, PIAC reports. Let's start with a story on Kayayei Empowerment Program. And it reads, an initiative dedicated to empower 5,000 female head porters and offer transitional job pathways to enhance their socio-economic status has been launched in Accra. Known as the Kayayei Empowerment Program, it has an overarching goal to empower the female head porters, popularly known as Kayayei, across the country through the transformative power of technical vocational training and education. The multifaceted program will use a rigorous recruitment process to select the initial cohort of 5,000 head porters for a transformative 3-week learning program. that's a step in the right direction, I must say. But I want to do 3 more stories and then we can come for your reactions, Doc. Hundreds of hostages rescued from Boko Haram extremists. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Graphic. Hundreds of hostages, mostly children and women, who were held captive for months or years by Boko Haram extremists in the northeastern Nigeria, have been rescued from a forest enclave and handed over to authorities, the army has said. The 350 hostages had been held in the Sambisa forest, a hideout for the extremist group, which launched an insurgency in 2009, a senior Nigerian army officer, Major General Ken Chigbu, said late Monday, while presenting them to authorities in Borno, where the forest is. It's good to know that after 10 years or so, there's still work ongoing to rescue some of these girls. Now, on page 13 of the Daily Graphic, waive taxes on public health commodities, medicines, that is according to NACP. The National AIDS and STI Control Program has called for exceptional tax waivers on all health commodities and medicines provided by development partners for public health intervention. That, it said, was to enable the country to eliminate and achieve epidemic control for the conditions for which those medicines and commodities have been targeted. Then NACP enumerated the commodities, which included medicines for HIV, malaria, tuberculosis, and all diseases that had been targeted by the country for programmatic intervention. The manager, Dr. Stephen Aisiedu, who made the call in an interview, explained that taxes on health commodities and medications for programmatic interventions in the country caused delays in clearing them from the ports and reduced their shelf life by the time they were cleared. We know that story from about 2 months ago when Global Funds had released some medicines to be disbursed, but was held up at the ports for almost a year. Or more than a year. Invested petroleum funds appreciate, still on page 13 of the Daily Graphic. Invested funds under the country's upstream petroleum sector increased to $1.24 billion last year from $1.06 billion in 2022. This was the result of a 13.96% increment in the Ghana Heritage Fund, an investment stream for future generations, while the Ghana Stabilization Fund went up by 32.52% despite withdrawals. The combined effect of the GPFs was a 16.47% increase last year over the previous year. Now, the chairperson of PAYAC, Emerita Professor Elizabeth Adafio-Shandoff, presenting the findings of the report, explained that the $1.24 billion total reserves at the end of the 2023 was made up of $1.05 billion in the GHF and $190.938 million in the GSF, compared with their corresponding figures in 2022. Doc, these quick stories for your reactions before we proceed.
Yeah, I think I'll start with the Kayayei empowerment. It's a good thing, as you rightly said. We need to empower them, but we need a program that is sustainable. We want to put in measures that will deal with this problem head on, so that in the first place, we don't have them on the street to carry loads around and all that. They also need dignified jobs and then better training so that they can take care of their lives, right? So that is what I think the state must work towards, so that we work towards not only empower them, but get them off the streets and give them what decent means of what livelihoods. I think that is the way to go. I know the state has done its bit. Communities are also supporting, but we still have the problem on our hands. So there must be every effort to be able to quicken the process and get to the finish line by getting them off the street and giving them better lives.
Doc, wouldn't that be a way of encouraging more, migration to the south? Accra is already so congested, and so these people come down here to see greener pastures. If there's,
yeah, that's why I'm saying that we should deal with the problem head on.
Right.
By getting them out. Once you don't have any, they will not serve as role models for anybody. And that means that where they come from, you need to fix the problem there. So you get the basis right. By what? Tackling the problem head on, and then you don't have them here. The issue of Boko Haram and the way they are going about with the activities and all that is very worrying to the people of Nigeria and then the sub-region. You recall the incident of the Chibok girls and all that.
Yeah.
And they kept them in the forest only to return them. Some were already mothers and the rest of them. The health condition and all that. I believe the Nigerian government is doing a bit, but they need to put in more effort to get these, miscreants out of the system and create a society that everybody will be free to move about. Can you imagine you send your child to school only to realize that somebody had abducted your child, and then how do you sleep that day? It's a worrying situation. Abductions and kidnappings and all that are going on in Nigeria, and I think that the government must be able to put its foot down and address this situation at home. The issue of waiving of taxes on health products, I think is a good call, and it's a call well in order. We have seen instances where, or heard stories where there is the need to clear goods from the harbor health products, and because of taxation, they get rot there and all that. If the state has found it necessary to waive all the tax, I think it's better. Because if you cannot supply your people with medicines, and people are helping you, why do you want to impose tax so as to delay the process and even eventually destroy the products and all that? It doesn't help anybody. Otherwise, people who donate to us will feel tired, and at a point in time will not have that support. We need this support all the time. So we need to create the enabling environment for these things to flow easily.
All right. There are more stories in the Daily Graphic. You should pick one for yourself. On sports, African Games medalist coaches receive bonuses. Kayayei vowed to break Ghana's world title drought, etc. Now, in the New Finder newspaper, on the front page, NHIA to issue Ghana cards to 6.3 million children. Kayayei Skills Training Centers commissioned. That's the story we just got into. Interest rates hit 30 to 47% on loans for businesses, Bank of Ghana report. And oil production drops by 23 million meter barrels in 4 years. Let's get into that paper now and do the story about NHIA and NIA to issue Ghana cards to 6.3 million children. And that story is on page 9. I'll do that quickly, and then Benjamin will take over. The National Health Insurance Authority and the National Identification Authority, the landmark collaboration, have signed an agreement to register and issue Ghana cards to 6.3 million children across Ghana. This initiative targets children aged 6 to 14 years and is set to begin on June 10, 2024. The NHIA and NIA have called on parents and guardians to ensure their children are registered to obtain the Ghana card, which will facilitate access to healthcare and serve as official identification. There you have it. I just wanted to do that because of some of the issues coming up from the limited voter registration exercise and the guarantor system causing most of the problems, because the issue of someone bringing in 10 and more than 10 people, someone bringing in minors because they don't have Ghana cards. If everyone had Ghana cards, I'm sure that most of these problems will be fixed. But your thoughts, Doc?
Yes, the guarantor system, we have said it time and again, that it's not a foolproof system, and I'm not sure any system is foolproof. There are lingering challenges, but what we are saying that given the circumstances, we believe that that is a way out, and it can help. If we identify problems somewhere along the line, we need to fix the problem. Right? The Ghana card, right, it's, for me, is the perfect one that can really help us. But even there, you realize that how do you even get in there? Sometimes this guarantor system also is part of the process that lead you to Ghana card. So, but the good news about Ghana card is that once you have a card which serves that multi-purpose role, it helps everybody. Jurisdictions such as Denmark and all that, they have one card. Once a child is born, you are registered, and when you turn 18, the system will automatically identify you as a registered voter, and then you move on. I think that is where we must work toward. And then we support the effort of the National Card Authority to be able to issue more cards to people on time and all that. There are problems also there. Professor Atefa has done his bit. He has done so well to bring us this far. We need to support him, support that office, so that we get all the bottlenecks cleared, and then the next election or two, we can make use of what? The Ghana card and all. If everybody can have access to, Ghana card, I'm not sure the guarantor system will exist anymore.
Right.
But as you don't have them, or majority of the people do not have, then it is incumbent upon us to be able to get a card that will bring everybody in. And that is the essence of free and fair election. All
right. Thank you for that, Benjamin Akakbo.
Let me get into some of the papers very quickly. The Ghanaian Publisher is where I'm starting. APSL drags Ghana to international arbitration, demands $3.6 billion in damages. Baumia fulfills Kayayei promise, applauds Natoshi for support. And we've already spoken about the Kayayei situation. Some would say, hey, Natoshi, is that an indication that anything is going to happen? And then majority refutes minorities' unfounded allegations, and Nkranza South MPP warns NDC MP over attacks. But let me quickly look at some of these stories. Doc, I'm going to go very quickly through about 5 stories, so I would crave your indulgence. Just follow with me so that when I'm done, you can send through your reactions. APSL drags Ghana to international arbitration. Now, Ashanti Port Services Limited has dragged the Ministry of Transport, represented by the Ghana Shippers Authority, to the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law for arbitration over a concession agreement on the development of the Buankra Integrated Logistics Terminal project. That is the BILT project. The agreement on a build, operate, and transfer basis was unilaterally terminated by the ministry for alleged failures to achieve financial closure within the cure period, among other breaches. Now, per the story, according to APSL, the termination has led to the unlawful takeover of the BILT project by the ministry and thus preventing it from executing its role as a concessionaire. And that is where that has led to. Whether it's going to be another case of a judgment debt remains to be seen. But these 2 stories, SNIT responds to Ablakwe's comments on sale of hotels, and I'll deal with corrupt appointees in my next government, President Mahama. There's a linkage, a nexus I want to draw. So the management of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust has responded to comments by Mr. Samuel Kudjeto Ablakwa, National Democratic Congress, Member of Parliament for North Tongue, on the sale of its hotels. SNIT, in a statement copied to the Ghana News Agency, said the attention of its management had been drawn to this bit, but then the statement said the trust sought to partner a strategic investor to raise capital to invest in the hotels and assist in their management. It said the primary objective of finding a strategic investor was to increase efficiency, profitability, shareholder value, and the long-term sustainability of the SNIT pension scheme. We saw that report recently from the ILO. I've seen Franklin Kujo of Imani Africa also say that he supports the reorientation, if you like, re-strategization of SNIT. But how does this sit with the rest of us, especially looking at where this is headed? I've listened to Nana Akomia, for example, talk about the fact that some former MPs in the NDC regime also sold some SNIT properties to themselves. He mentions that in Cape Coast, the SNIT Hotel in Cape Coast is owned by the minority owner, is a high-ranking NDC member, that the catering rest house in Sunyani was also bought by a high-ranking NDC member, that some others were also owned by NDC aficionados. So you ask yourself, all right, so yes, noise being made about it. In other jurisdictions, this may not happen, but is the NDC necessarily a saint in this matter? Which is why I link it to this story, which is why I'll pause later. I'll do 2 more stories. I'll deal with corrupt appointees in my next government, Mahama says so. So former President John Dramani Mahama, flag bearer of the NDC, has pledged to lead a new charge in the fight against corruption if re-elected as president. The new approach, he said, involved holding not only, quote, corrupt officials under the previous administration accountable, but also appointees of his next administration who indulged in corrupt activities. But Mr. Former President, how about those from the past in your administration who may be found, like some of these, if they tend to be shady? Your party is railing against these SNIT developments. How about the people within your party who have done these things in the past? Maybe not through the right mechanisms. What's your answer to that? Some of my thoughts. Doc, Any reflections on this before
yes.
I just...
I think the two are very important stories. The issue of the SNET. I have a number of questions for the discerning minds. I want to find out. One, I know, I'm not a lawyer, but I know that when you are dealing with conflict of interest situation, you need to declare your interest, if there is any, and that if there is a board or a body that is looking at that interest will know where you are coming from. Was that interest declared to the board that oversaw the whole process? Did we have value for money? Are the facilities that they are selling, are they facility that ought to be sold? Or it's just that somebody is pushing it to be sold, that the person goes to buy and all that? These are questions I think I need answers to if I really want to do justice to that. Otherwise, it becomes so difficult, because sometimes you realize that all these things are met, and then people begin to accuse whoever is buying that, hey, it's not the best way and all that. Sometimes too, all these things, there are breaches, and that affects or undermine the whole process. So I want to be clear on this before I stick my neck out, because as at now, I'm not seized with all the details, the information on that, so I'll not be able to touch on effectively. Come to look at the issue of corruption and what Mr. Mahama is promising to do. It's good to promise, but as to whether he'll be able to have the political will to deal with it is another. Because I've seen it in this republic that the issue of corruption, more often than not, is just a talk show. Politicians don't have what it takes to deal with that, especially dealing with their own. It becomes a problem. But if Mr. Mahama wants to give us a promise on that, first of all, there are questions that are posed to him. I want to find out his way of dealing with this problem. What is that? Does he have a new strategy he needs to share with us so that we can interrogate the issues and realize if we see that it is fit for purpose, why not? We want to find out how sustainable is that going to be. He needs to convince us beyond reasonable doubt, because we heard a lot about OSP and all that. And looking at recent development we are having, it gives us an impression that the state itself is not happy to have such institution in the first place to fight corruption. So it's all about talk show. I really want to see real action. And this time around, I have said, and I'll repeat here, that we want the conversation to be taken to another level, where whatever you promise, give us the details, how you are going to work that thing out, your strategy and all that. And if we find it fit, why not?
I'll just wrap with these stories. Headlines I'll give you. On page 6 of the Ghanaian publisher, Ghana nears IMF board approval for $360 million third tranche. Then there's ECOWAS must be decisive in dealing with terrorism in Sahel region. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. But whenever I see things like this, we must be decisive in dealing with terrorism, I ask, how decisive have we been in dealing with heads of state wanting to stay in power unconstitutionally, tweaking constitutions and all of that? How decisive have we been with that? Because once those things are happening, terrorism will also happen, Mr. President. Daily Guide. We've done most of the stories. I guess the only one I'd like to take a look at is majority fires minority over recruitment claims. And I'm sure you followed that story. The recruitments, purported recruitments into the Ghana Police Service, the Fire Service, among others. They have been debunked. Some have said that these are backlogs from previous years and all of that. But we do know that politicians in and politicians out do have people they get into these services, and that these people feel beholden to them and sometimes act in certain ways because these are party people, whether NDC or NPP. Your quick reaction to that, that's my final bit to you.
Right. I will start with the issue of terrorism. The president saying that we need to take decisive action on that. It's good to do that, but you have said it right. How decisive are we? All right. We have looked on as a body, I'm talking about ECOWAS, while bad governance take place here. Issue of human rights abuse, poor management of economies, and the rest of them. And we say nothing to leaders, and it gets worse, and people take undue advantage of the system. Very unfortunate. And issue of third-term agenda, where we use the legislature to change, as it were, the laws of the state about tenure of office and all that. This thing has gone on, and leaders have turned blind eye to this. And these are all the things that really work in the minds of soldiers who want to topple regime and all that. I am a student of democracy, and I want to remain as such. That yes, it doesn't matter how bad the government will be. The only way to get the government out is through the ballot box. So if we want to prevent terrorism and all that, we need to strengthen the frontiers of democracy and make sure that it becomes the only game in town. That's the only way out. Other than that, we are just working in vain. The issue of recruitment into the security services, once a while, this issue comes up and it becomes a problem. I remember my late MP, Mr. Kayayei, took it against the NDC government about that. The issue since then has reoccurred and continued to occur and all that. We need to fix this problem. Let's have the institutions have their own right appointment authorities. Let's use them and make sure that the army or the security forces we have reflect those who have really applied, and it doesn't matter where they come from in terms of ethnic groups and all that, provided they have they met all the standards and that are used for the job. Why not? But when we want to use ethnicity, want to use party politics as a way of getting them into the services, then it becomes a problem. It undermines what meritocracy, which is the basis for public sector appointment. Then the issue of Ghana getting close to be able to receive the $360 million from the IMF. Yes, it's a good thing. It will show up our reserves here or financial base and make it possible for us to run the affairs of the state well. But hey, the question is that if we had put our house in order very well, we will not need IMF support. Face corruption, and you will not go to IMF. That is a message to the government.
All righty. Well, that is how we're going to have to sew it up. I'm getting some people reacting to the 0 to 10 thing, not on the live stream, but some people being like, now you Ben Power, what are you trying to do to us this morning?
But
I told you. Shebi, I told you.
She gets. But I have some birthday messages that I really want to get into. One coming from my own producer, Kingsley, and I will get that right now. Right. Happy birthday to Menaye Sapoma Aqua of Daystar Montessori School from Millennium City Estate. You are 6 years old today, from your parents, Fifi and Joyce Aqua. They say they wish you well. Happy birthday, darling. And another happy birthday coming from Abna Opoku and Renee of Adum TV. He says, happy birthday to Hajia Fauzia Karim. I pray that the good Lord enlarge your territories and grant you long life with good health. You're so kind, down to earth, and a caring being. I love you so much, from Abna Opokua and Renee. That's a lovely message. Happy birthday. Any birthday messages from your end?
I guess you've done them all. If any others come through, I would look at them as well. But before we go, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment as always. They are offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Reach out to them at any of their branches. Here in Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronomo Abwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takra DNIG Estate, Tema Community 22, Tichim and Hanswa, and Esiamanzima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. The end to chronic disease. Sports is up next. You want to stay for that. But Arsenal for still remember, 2nd to 20th, no trophy. Sports is up next.
Good morning. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. Ghana Black Starlets, they are in the semi-final of the WAFO B Under-17 competition after defeating Benin 2-0 at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium on Tuesday. Ghana had won their opening game against Côte d'Ivoire 5-1, and the second victory against Benin secured a place in the last four of the competition.
Kagawa Mensah and Theophilus Ayamga netted in the first half to ensure victory for Laie Kingston's side, who finished top of Group A. Kagawa Mensah got things running for the Black Starlets after just 19 minutes played as he lobbed the ball over the Benin goalkeeper. The goal came through brilliant work by Godfred Sapon, who pressed his opponent, forcing him into making an error before the ball fell to Joseph Nabi, who beat two markers, playing the ball into the path of Mensah.
He beats a second, lays on the pass through the middle. This should be it.
Three minutes later, Ayamga doubled Ghana's lead. After a series of passes between his teammates, the number 10-shirted lad sent in a low strike, which beat the goalkeeper once again.
That just after the goal, they're keeping it tight, they're keeping it careful as Ghana come forward again. Another opportunity for a shot on target. The avalanche of goals has begun.
There were limited opportunities for the two sides after the break, but Ghana held on to secure all 3 points. The win means that Laie Kingston's side have picked up all 6 points available from their opening 2 games in the competition and will now advance to the last 4. All over at the University of Ghana Stadium, the scoreline not as impressive as it was against Ivory Coast, but the Black Starlets have had a job done. They secure a slot in the semi-final of the WAFO Under-17 Championship being held in Accra. But to some fans at the stadium, this performance hasn't been too impressive, and this is what they have to say.
I would say, I don't know whether because they won the first game, they've taken their time. It's like they've taken it too easy. I want to see some level of seriousness as they put in the first game.
So far so good. Black Starlets is like what we are playing our game. What I'm seeing on the Laie Kingston team right now is about our team. They underrate the Benin. They underrate them because when they get the goals, they get easiest goal. They get easiest goal. That's why our defender and our goalkeeper, those are the players on the back seeing all the pitch. What they will do is they have to use and talk more, but the defender is not talking, the goalkeeper is not talking. So he let them, like when they underrate the game, they play anyhow.
I was right here in the first game against Ivory Coast, and it was much more entertaining than this particular one. I see the guys being too complacent with this game. I think they can do better than they are doing now.
All right, so we look to be on course to qualify for the next stage of the competition. I mean, how confident are you that this team will probably go into the semis and then advance into the final?
Oh well, I'm very confident they can do it. Like I said, they are just being too complacent. They can do their job, but they feel like Benin is a weaker side compared to Ivory Coast. So they are just being too playful.
Last Wednesday against Ivory Coast coming to these qualifiers, Ivory Coast was one of the teams to watch, but I mean Ghana was able to beat them 5 goals, not even beat them, trash them 5 goals to 1. So coming to this game, I mean Ghanaians were optimistic that Ghana was going to walk away over this Benin side by at least 6 or 7 goals. But it has not been the case. Right now it's almost 80th minutes and it's 2-0. So I mean we are disappointed, but at least this Laie Kingston's second match in the official tournament, so we should give him the benefit of the doubt going to the qualifiers.
Now let's hear from head coach of the team, Laie Kingston, who has been speaking about the performance of his boys against Benin.
The way the Bedouins play is very difficult to read them, because you don't actually see exact what they wanted to do, but they wanted to go forward when they have the ball. You can see their centre back, they launch the ball if necessary. They have 3 big, strong guys right in front. Kick the ball to them, but I like the way my back line dealt with it. Also, beginning we were playing 3 in the middle. The two attacking players, they were a little bit high from the beginning, but later parts they drop a little bit so that we can have a lot of options in the middle. So for me, like I said earlier on, I want us to be calm enough. The way we want to play, we want to be calm enough. Sometimes it's very difficult to play. We have 1 or 2 challenges with the way the ball moves on the pitch. It's a bit slow. So it slows the way we wanted to play, but for me, I think we dominated play today. Unlike against Ivory Coast, that in the first 45 minutes, it was 50-50, but in the second half against Ivory Coast, it got much better. I know the way I want my team to play, and I know our team have dominated a lot of opponents most of the opponents that we've played. Sometimes opponents comes in the game, but we always want to control the game, and today I think we control the game much better than against Ivory Coast. You have a very young boys that we developing them. This part of the world, I think we focus more on results. I believe other parts of the world, this age group is just development. Any win is just a bonus, or qualifying to a competitive tournament is just a bonus. So for me, we have to develop the boys, give them that confidence. If at this stage, if my player makes mistake, it's part of it. It's part of his growth. So for me, what I believe in as a technical person, they are young, and we have to encourage them to play according to the certain style. That if they go out there, if we're going to compete with teams in Europe and other parts of the world, these are kind of situations that is going to happen. We have to encourage them to be able to have confidence and make mistakes, and they learn from those mistakes.
About 5 years ago, a black princess burst into the scene and dominated female football. Unfortunately, she got injured and went into obscurity, but she's struggling to regain what made her very prominent in the last 5 years. My colleague, Lawrence Beidu, has been speaking to her playmates, her coaches, and herself, Mukarama Abdullahi, and put together this report.
Chance for Ghana. Here is Mukarama!
That is a brilliant turn.
Ghana in the lead in extra time. It is Mukarama Abdullahi.
Mukarama Abdullahi's journey to scoring the decisive goal in the 2023 African Games final embodies the spirit of a daring to dream and taking action to achieve those dreams.
Yeah, for me personally, it was something I was not expecting to be part of the U20 because, and coach called me to inform me I'll be taking part. So I was excited because coming back from injury, I've been out for 2 years. So I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me.
Despite facing setbacks and challenges along the way, she persisted and ultimately succeeded on the grand stage.
I think it's something that will be a very big part of me, winning the all African Games. It's like this Olympics and all that, so it's important for me and something special.
South finds Mukarama. Can Ghana get an equalizer? Here is Mukarama! And Ghana...
Her inclusion in the squad, despite being over 20, was a twist of fate that opened doors for her to showcase her talent once again.
CAF brought a communique that we can add over-age players to at least 2. That means not only us, all the participants. You can add at least year 2003, year 2002.
Head coach Yusuf Vasigi saw something special in her, a testament to her abilities both on and off the field.
I opted for Mukarama because I needed a bite up front because most of my strikers were not available. So I needed to bring her on board so that she'll bring her expertise and experience, everything to help the team, and of course she did.
Mukarama's path to success at the African Games hasn't been without obstacles. From her promising rise at the 2018 Under-17 Women's World Cup to battling injuries and criticism, she has faced adversity head-on.
She mentioned some point in time. I think this was around 2017 or 2018. That was just before the World Cup in Uruguay, where she blew out, right? So she was telling me how she sometimes had to go, like, she was selling sachet water at some point in time, where sometimes she has to go sell the sachet water, right? And then make sure she sell everything at a certain point in time, then run to the pitch, put her bowl or her packet somewhere, and then join the guys to play football.
That part, it's unexplainable. It's a tough situation. But at the end of the day, if you have the right people around you, and as an individual, if you are strong enough to go through the struggle, so it's something that I can't explain, but it's tough. But alhamdulillah.
Sometimes she's playing football with no jerseys, like just whatever she has on when she went to sell the sachet water, that is what she was going to use it to train with. She mentioned how at a certain point in time where she has to put on the big Muslim hijab, like the one that covers everything, every aspect of yourself, because the mom was against the idea of playing football. So she'll wear that, put on like a small shorts under, run to the pitch, and then she can play her football.
In 2021, she signed for Spanish outfit Alaves in what many believed was a career-making move. But that proved to be, till date, the most challenging period in her life.
It's a good place for me, and it has been a very smooth, not a smooth ride. There are difficulties, there are challenges, and I think this particular place is a good step for me.
In many ways, Mukarama has always had to fight adversity. After an uneventful first game at the African Games, for example, some fans at the Cape Coast Stadium during Ghana's second game were left frustrated and called for a substitution before she eventually got onto the score sheet to silence her critics.
To me, I saw messages later on after that game, and I was surprised because I didn't hear anything particularly about me or the booing and all that. But if it was for me, I don't think so. It's part of the game. I'm not the first player to be booed and all that, so it was something I just took it on.
Basigi's unwavering belief in Mukarama's capabilities speaks volumes about her talent and character.
I think coach has been helpful, like Team Hazakers have been welcoming since I joined them, and they have been great parts of my coming back, and then it's been great. She
has been with me at the club side, and I've been working with her. I know her temperament. I know she has the character. And these are the players that we are looking for. So, despite the injury that she had and returned back to the field, I feel that mentally she's tough to work. And having her, you see, at times it is not only about the player on the field of play, but off the field of play, she is also a mentor. You see, she's someone who unites the players, and I felt that there was a need to bring her on board. And even on the field of play, you could see that when even the going was tough, she was still fighting. You will never see her, giving up easily. So we needed such a player to augment the team. And of course, she lived up to my expectation.
Now, as they shift their focus to club football, Mukarama and Basigi are determined to continue their winning partnership, with their sights set on reclaiming the Women's Premier League title and possibly returning to the CAF Women's Champions League, a stage the Asmal ladies were 3 years ago. They remain committed to their journey of success.
It's been great as a team, and as you know, we players and coaches, we have different mind of how we read the game or how we want the team to be. The coach may not be satisfied with our performance. me individual as a player, I wouldn't say I'm satisfied because there has been some few fallbacks we had like as a team, and I think it's part of the game. But as Hazakes, the name it carries like I think it's too much. It's a big name, so I think we are on the right side, path. So.
Well, I want to win the league first. Then I'll see the kind of preparation I'll do for the Champions League. I've been there, I got to finals. So I'm just waiting to win the league. So if I win the league, I will know what to, the sort of preparation or what to put in order to get to the finals this time round and win it.
This particular place is a good step for me coming back. So working towards where I want to be and where I'm starting from is just some place I think it's place I should be. So
Mukarama's current form may not match her previous heights, but with the support of her team, she continues to strive for excellence. Her 6 goals for Hazakes ladies in the Women's Premier League highlights her ongoing contribution to the team's success, serving as a reminder of her undeniable talent and determination. For Joy Sports, Lawrence Beidu.
That's your sports for now. Do head on to myjoyonline.com for some more sports stories.
Welcome back on the AM show. You see the big smile on my face because I get to interview. I'll not grow hair like tilapia. I get to interview a friend. So the National Commission for Civic Education has begun an inter-party initiative, and we're going to be delving into that, an inter-party dialogue committees nationwide. The committees are to identify early warning signals, serve as mediators among political parties on disagreements that have the potential of escalating into violence. But can this strategy be the antidote for the peace required going into election 2024? We're going to have an interaction on those issues together with other initiatives of the National Commission for Civic Education. Joining us, the chairperson, Kathleen Addy. Good morning.
Good morning.
I wish I could stretch my hand long enough to give you
it looks like a
handshake.
COVID era.
But this one, we'll do an air handshake.
Yes.
Good to have you this morning.
Good to be here.
Let's
really
talk
nice
about.
Studio, I have to say, very nice.
Oh, you can go ahead and gush. Feel free to gush over us. You like the feel?
Oh, it's nice, really nice. Okay. I've been coming to Joy FM for many years, and this is a great step up.
Okay. We try to meet the standards. We're trying very hard. Nice. Okay. But let's get right down to it. The NCCE, I mean, I remember the last time I had an interaction with you, lots of stuff to discuss. Water under the bridge. How is the NCCE faring? What have you been up to?
Okay, so as you mentioned earlier, this being the election year, it's a very busy year for us. That's not to say that other years are not busy, just more busy because this is the year that we concentrate all our voter education voter education activities. So we've started, but last week or a couple of days ago, we launched a very important initiative on Monday, a mechanism that helps to keep the peace by ensuring that issues and problems that erupt at the local level are addressed by a group of credible people working together with a common objective of ensuring that those challenges, those problems, those misunderstandings do not escalate into something that becomes a big issue for the nation to now put money in addressing. So we've been doing a lot. Our project in the North, our peace and security project, preventing and containing violent extremism, is still on course. We've been doing the public education. You know, last year we worked around the DLE, district level elections, and then we moved into this year with all the other activities as well. But the big thing that we did on Monday was to commence the inter-party dialogue committees that are district-based structures of the commission that are usually activated during the election cycle to ensure, like I said before, that issues are resolved very quickly at the local level so that we can have a smooth election.
So you've been up to quite a lot. Would you say the NCCE could have been doing more even as of now in an electoral year?
Well, you know,
and I say this from different angles.
Okay.
Logistics.
Oh, okay.
Support, but even also as an institution, do you feel
right
with manpower and everything, you could have been doing more as of now?
Okay. So, of course, we could have been doing more. That goes without saying. Anybody could do more. You know, Joy could be doing more. We could all be doing more. But that tends not to be my focus most of the time. I try to do the best we can under the circumstances. And this year we've been able to launch this program. It's actually started already. The committees have started meeting. The engagements are going on. In fact, at our press briefing, we showed pictures of these activities across the length and breadth of the country. Some have started, some are now starting. So we're kind of focused on doing what we have set out to do. And in terms of what we have set out to do, this is on point. And this is where we are. This is what we are supposed to do at this time, and this is what we are doing. Before this, I was trying to remember, we launched Constitution Week in the Ashanti region a few weeks ago. And Constitution Week is a flagship program of the Commission. And this election year, we used it as an opportunity to also do a lot of voter-related work, focusing on our broad themes for the year in terms of areas that we are highlighting, areas of challenge, areas of potential problems, areas that if we don't create awareness around could escalate into something not so great. So we have launched we have finished the cycle of the Constitutional Week programs, and we are now into the IPDC programs. These are set pieces that we would normally do in an election year, and they are vehicles through which we continue to push public education, and also they tend to be feedback mechanisms, because in all of these things, we are holding these engagements with people, we are taking feedback, and that is further informing the programming going further into the year.
Before we get into the IPDCs, the Inter-Party Dialogue Committees, you mentioned the Constitutional Week. What would you say are the takeaways from that effort that you put in? Because a lot of the time, I say one basic thing. You could go out there and ask people some of the most basic things in terms of our 1992 Constitution. And sometimes you'd get surprising responses. What would you say has been the takeaway from that drive?
Well, Constitution Week is always great. It's a week we set aside to remind all of us Ghanaians that we've come a long way in the context of Fourth Republic and all the good things about the Fourth Republic. And also to remind ourselves that the democracy does not build itself. It's we, the people, who have to do our part to make sure that it's working. And to also remind ourselves that as a country, we've come from a dark past marked by political instability, and that we, at the start of the Fourth Republic, we committed to ensuring that we don't get to a point where overthrowing the Constitution becomes an option for us as Ghanaians, and that we continue to deepen a democratic culture. During Constitution Week, we will normally meet personnel of the armed forces. So we have military, prisons, police, and so on and so forth. We add immigration, customs, all those bodies that are in charge of peace and security in a way, protecting our peace, protecting our constitution, protecting the democracy. We hold these engagements with them. This year, our theme for this year in NCCE is Together We Can Build Ghana, so get involved. And so it's a clarion call to all Ghanaians that, look, there is a role for everybody to play in this and democratic venture that we are undertaking. And we must not forget that the role that everybody has to play is very important. It's not just one aspect of society or one category of people in Ghana who are to work to ensure that as a country we are able to make progress and attain the vision that we set out for ourselves. We all have a role to play, and we must play that role. And so our theme being this, that together we can build Ghana, so get involved, forms the framework for the other things that we are focusing on this year. 4 broad areas. 1, money in politics. 2, religious tolerance and ethnic-based campaigns, which are negative. 3, violence and intemperate language, incitement, those things. Closely linked to 4, which is fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. The additional issue that we are raising is continuing to highlight what a threat Galamsey continues to present to us as a people, to our country, to our existence. It's an existential threat. It's not just a threat to the people who live in the areas. The health risks are there, very important, and I fear that we are setting ourselves up for a huge health crisis the way Galamsey is going. But beyond that, illegal mining in Galamsey is a threat to the stability of the state. We have examples in the sub-region for all of us to see. We all know what illegal mining, the role it played in escalating the conflicts in Sierra Leone and Liberia, and destabilizing the country for years. And those conflicts went on much longer than they should have, because the diamond mining element continued to fuel.
There were beneficiaries from different
yes,
angles, and some of them even externally. There were accusations of others within the sub-region and outside of the continent who were fueling this because they were benefiting from it, because which then created the talk about blood diamonds and countries now being ethical in terms of their dealings. All of that is in there.
But because the point is that if you don't take steps to avoid destabilizing your country, then these are the consequences. And so we have to understand that the talk around Galamsey is not just talk. It is very serious, because, it may look like, well, I mean, life goes on, but the moment we cross the line into an era of instability, then other forces will come in and we will have a really major problem in our country.
And which brings me to my next bit. I ordinarily wouldn't have gone here, but since you've gone there, some security analysts have said that let's not kid ourselves and think that terrorism is far away. There have been terrorist acts all around, very close to us, on the Togolese end, on the Burkinabe end, on different ends, very close, sometimes in very close proximity to our borders. And some have said that some of them are even in Ghana, but the fact is we are not, as it stands now, we are not a target. We are more like, there's a word they use, some of them come here and even engage in illegal mining, get something and go. It's more like a funding source. Till the point where you cross a certain line, like you said, then you become a target. But how do you relate that? Because in today's Ghanaian publisher newspaper, ECOWAS must be decisive in dealing with terrorism in Sahel region. That's Akufo-Addo. And he says that he has urged ECOWAS heads of state to reach an agreement and establish a clear policy direction to combat terrorism in the Sahel region. But when I read this, one of the things that came to mind that I espoused, right? How about leadership in the sub-region, democratic leadership? What is degenerating into these coup d'etats that we are seeing? Sometimes you listen to the things that people are seeing. Why are people pouring on the streets in support? It shouldn't be. You get it? So you look at the technicalities that we face. People tweaking constitutions, tweaking, getting extended terms, Alassane Ouattara and all of that. It hurts because some of these people, when Gbagbo was leaving and you were coming, look at how Africans, the international community, then you turn around and slap us with. So when these things are said, going back to the Constitution, yes, Constitution, yes, but are the right things being done to stave these developments? That's just my little bit.
Oh, no, it's fine. And actually, I'm happy you bring this up because I mentioned earlier on that we are undertaking a peace and security project focusing on northern Ghana and the border areas. And it is precisely because of this. I mean, the threat that we face is not a straightforward threat. Actually, it's a very complicated situation. There are a lot of external forces involved. And there's a lot of misuse of online and internet resources. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of fake news. In those areas, there's a lot of things happening that is pushing people to support people who come to destabilize countries. So it's really not just about, okay, we are not happy, but there are other forces at play. And so for us in the work that we are doing, we are in communities, in the border areas, in the northern areas, to make sure that people understand the nature of the threat that we face from the sub-region. In fact, that is the big difference in this election. I always, joke that in Ghana, every election is supposed to be the last one. People say this particular election is so bad that there's no coming back from it. That we will never recover. Everything will fall apart, right? And somehow, some way, somehow, we always come to. But this year is different. And this year is different for a number of reasons. The key one being the instability of the sub-region. Because the forces that are at play, that is causing instability in other countries, we are not immune to those forces. Exactly. We are not immune to those forces.
Kenya was said to be the bastion of democracy until what happened in Kenya.
Yes, until what happened. Yes, so we are not immune from it. So we must do what we can to ensure that these things don't come into our borders. Like I said, it's not a simple issue. We have violent extremists, currently, even if you look at Burkina Faso, a good chunk of the country is kind of murky. You don't really know who's in control there, And then we have, between the violent extremists and then coups that are pushed, supported, and fueled by international geopolitics and all of that, there are a lot of forces at play. So it's really not simple at all. But for me and for NCCE, what we do is to ensure that in terms of public education, that element of the problem, we are proactive, we are ahead of the game. We started doing this education in Northern Ghana way before it became, sort of the sexy thing to do. From 2021, we recognized the threat in the fact that one of the key line of defense for us, as citizens, is to ensure that people who are closest to the threat understand the nature of the threat, understand what needs to be done. So if you take all of this together and you add Galamsey, then you realize that actually this year's election is more dangerous than previous years because Galamsey is a big threat. As you yourself said, there's already talk of all of these skirmishes happening. I must say that our armed forces have done an amazing job keeping us safe. Because while we sleep and go about our business in Accra, doing our business, they have been working on those borders, keeping the threat out, taking major risks on our behalf, So they've done amazing to keep us safe. We are out there doing the public education needed to ensure that the threat doesn't come in unexpected ways. Because sometimes it's not just men with guns. Sometimes it's people coming in as saviors, So
is that a stray bullet at anybody?
No, that's not a stray bullet.
People coming in as saviors.
Coming in as a savior is not a new concept. People have been doing it for ages.
Within this election campaign,
no.
Some people have touted themselves as saviors. So I find
nobody is a savior. That's the other thing we have to understand about our situation.
There's no Messiah.
There is no Messiah coming
Messiah
in this country. Do you understand? Nobody's coming. We have to accept that.
Not Bawumia, not Mahama.
When I say nobody's coming, what I mean is that we can't cede all our power, all our agency to political leaders. We have to understand the role that all of us have to play to ensure that we move the country. That's what I mean by nobody's coming.
Okay.
So I always say to people, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Okay.
There's no Angel Gabriel.
There's no one else coming.
No, it is us. Everybody we have elected to lead this country, to represent us, is us.
Okay.
It's not anybody from the planet Mars. Everything, it is us. So we need to sort of start talking about that as well.
All right, leadership. Let's. In case you just joined the conversation, this is a conversation with the chairperson of the NCCE, the National Commission on Civic Education, Kathleen Addy. Okay, so this, I promise, after this, I'll go straight to the IPDCs.
Oh, no, if you don't, you give me more time.
I'll go straight to the IPDCs. There's also the school of thought, and I just cast my mind back into the 90s and all the things that the NCCE was doing, right? Mm-hmm. Some say the NCCE has dropped in terms of the pecking order of relevance in our national life. Mm-hmm. You are a constitutionally activated body, but some feel that NCCE, right now, it's been, and it's not technically just to say you.
Oh, no, I get it. I get it.
Whether it is Madam Nkrumah or
I know.
Deterioration over time. Well, how do you respond to that?
Well, it's true. It is an institution that has been systematically defunded over the course of the Fourth Republic. That is a fact. Government in, government out. Some have done a bit more than others, but overall, it's not an institution that has gained the support and attention that is required. At the start of the Republic, when the Constitution was being put together, the framers had an idea. The idea was groundbreaking and it was far-sighted. The vision was really spectacular and way ahead. It was way ahead of its time because there is no other country, really, literally. I've been looking really hard and somebody finds it, please let me know, where we have a constitutional body structured the way a civic education institution structured the way ours is. You can structure, that structure is common for electoral commissions, human rights commissions, media commissions, even, the independence, the way it's for the reporting lines, that sort of thing. But in most places, civic education is not given that kind of
prime of place.
Yes, it's not put at that level as those other institutions. But the framers of our constitution saw and knew that, we are embarking on this democratic journey, right? And we need the right kind of citizens to build the republic. The republic will not build itself. The democracy will not make itself. The constitution is alive because people are living by it, And so really it boils down to the people. And then so they understood that these things have to be taught. Good citizenship, which is the fundamental underpinning,
which we've been talking about
any effective
for years.
Democracy has to be taught. Nobody is born a good citizen already waving a flag and being patriotic. It is taught. It is taught systematically. It requires consistent investment over years. And for us, even more, because we in a lot of ways, for instance, I always say that people understand rights. At the beginning of the Fourth Republic, rights education was a big thing, citizen rights, because we had come from a place where a lot of people's rights did not exist, was non-existent. People even understand the concept of it. We have a good understanding of rights now. Do we understand our obligations to the state? Do you understand our responsibilities as citizens? Do we understand the role that we are playing in the democracy beyond voting? Because the voting rights is quite well understood. But what happens between elections? As a citizen, what is your role in ensuring that we are holding the leaders that you have elected to account? How are we holding leaders accountable? What are the realistic? Because there are all kinds of mechanisms already on the books that citizens should be using to ensure that we hold our elected leaders accountable. And so there are all of these things, but not to move away from the fact that this is an institution, for one reason or the other, I'm still trying to figure that out, has been systematically neglected over the years. Like I said, some days is better, some days not so great. For instance, COVID year, in the last few years, was one of the better years that we had in terms of support, because suddenly everybody remembered, right, that sometimes you need an institution that is already set up for public education. We were even given vehicles, even though some of it was taken away because it was never purchased with us in mind, right? And so
I know sometimes you work with information ministry.
Oh yes,
vehicles and all of that, and then they have to be.
Yes, so these COVID vehicles, we're given 50 of them, but they have been purchased for another state institution, and I don't think they were amused by that. But when it was, and then it was loaned to us essentially, and then at some point they said, well, you've done your project, we need to take the vehicles back. But we had also been, pushing and lobbying that, it's already here, we've already used them, so you should leave it. So anyway, we came to an agreement. They took 25, and we had 25, which was not bad. For a year that we didn't even plan to get any vehicles at all.
Half a loaf is better than.
And we've been building on that. Last year, we bought about 50 motorbikes. But the problem is that we are coming from such a low point in terms of what is required that it's really like a drop in the market, in the bucket. The investment that we are seeing into it's a drop.
So what you need actually is consistency.
Exactly.
You also need some bulk.
Exactly. We need some bulk logistics
to come your way. That's what you need.
Yes, but what more than anything, we need consistency for every government to understand that this institution needs to be given the opportunity they have to be allowed to work. And allowed to work means that they must be given the resources to work. The Constitution is clear about where we should get our resources from, but the state still gets to prioritize, in terms of...
You take your funding from where? The Consolidated Fund?
Yes.
Right.
Salaries and all of those things. And at no point have salaries been withdrawn or, because it's part of the public sector. So that's covered. It's operational funds that is always, because at that point, a government gets to decide what the priorities are. But for me, in all of these things, it's really about keep pushing and keep doing and demonstrating that even with a little, you're able to do a lot, because sometimes people forget. Politicians think in 4-year cycles. They are looking for something to deliver at the end of 4 years, something made of concrete, ideally. So they want a school, a bridge, a road. They can say that this is what we delivered. I can understand how it would be difficult to the idea that, you have invested in the minds of the people. But the truth of the matter is that that's the most powerful tool.
Yeah.
If you do the investment in the mindset of the people, the return on investment is greater than any concrete structure.
It's huge ROI. And sometimes too, it's about the lack of continuity in terms of leadership, like it or not. I don't get why each time there's a change in, political administrations, everybody must go and...
That doesn't affect the independence.
I know it doesn't, but you would also feel that in some instances, if I always feel that, for example, an IGP, if the person is performing and you come, there's no need to. If some head of an SOE is not from your party, but the person is performing. But these are things
weaknesses in the administration of the state that should be fixed. It's not record science. Some of it is not really, some of it not really. Some of it is constitutional, some of it not really constitutional.
Right.
We need to focus. It's just that when we start talking about these things, we quickly move into the big things. I am a strong believer in small steps.
Right.
And one of the reasons why, sometimes we get stuck is that we are always looking to do the one big thing that will change everything at once. Nothing works like that. You take incremental steps, small steps. That's the way to make progress. Right. And that's really my
Let's now focus on the inter-party dialogue committees. What is the idea behind it?
Sure.
And how responsive have the political parties been in this drive?
Okay. So NCCE as an institution, we have a relationship with the political parties. We engage them. We do a lot of engagements with them, particularly in election years. The IPDCs have representations from all the parties in that district. Okay. So if the party is present in that district, they are part of the IPDCs. It has representation from traditional authority, local authority, faith-based institutions, security, very, very critical. Because in a lot of those issues that are being resolved, it requires arbitration, but it also requires that security is made aware, is part of the conversation, understands the dynamics of issues. And it also involves influential people in the community whose voices carry weight and go further than it includes CSOs that are present in the... So any kind of structure that is operational in that district is represented on the IPDCs. And so when a problem comes up, and as you know, in the elections, I think one of the most interesting challenges and problems that, is of interest to me, I find fascinating, is things like the disagreements around who puts their poster where. First of all, a lot of these posters are placed illegally anyway.
Yeah.
But then somebody places a poster, somebody sticks
also,
another one, and it is such a source of conflict, you know. And if you don't manage that situation well in the district.
There was an interesting picture in Efutu where I mean, it's another story. It's a story for another day.
Okay.
But yes, it is a reality.
It's a reality. So the IPDC's issues like that. Somebody is going on a march in this direction. Some other people want to go and march in that direction. I mean, it's about sitting down and say, okay, you go today, I'll go tomorrow. You know, but arriving at that solution is not straightforward at all. And so IPDCs are set up to ensure that there is a space where everybody is represented, where heads are cool, so that we can all sit down and say, listen, this thing that we're doing, this match that we know that our people are going to clash, blood will be shed and all of that, is not worth it. You know, you go today, we go tomorrow, we go today, resolve it. And then you kill it right there, right? So that it's not as if, okay, today there's a clash. Okay, next week you will also cross your match and clash again. And then the next district will say, oh, is this what they are doing to us? They are beating our people here. Okay, we too will beat your people there. People don't understand that sometimes conflict starts with in fact, most times, it's just a spark.
And speaking of which, you mentioned, I mean, in outdooring this idea, you spoke about the fact that it was meant to serve as a unifying body to promote peace and tolerance and all of that. Is it a bit belated, or you think you can hold for me, you think you can achieve the impact before the election? And here's why I ask. You look at today's papers. The Ghanaian publisher, Nkranza South MPP, warns NDC MP over attacks. You read the story and you find that there is the usual NDC MPP tussle. You look at even the limited voter registration exercise. You've seen the videos. People toting guns, machetes, limited voter registration exercise. And this is how people are getting. So, too little, too late. Do you feel you can achieve these goals to a large extent before election 2024?
And I share your concerns. I share your concerns very strongly about the way things have evolved. This is my one thing I want to tell all of us as Ghanaians. Really, truly, no politician, no political party is worth one drop of your blood. Not a drop. Not one drop. You know, so please, let's all sit back and take a deep breath. Nobody's worth it. Anybody who comes to you and say, here's a machete, here's a gun, you must know that they do not value your life. Because as for machete and gun, anybody can get it. So if somebody says that this is the role that you have to play in bringing me to power, you must know that the person does not have your interest at heart. Their family members are not holding guns, running around, misbehaving anyway. So just a message of peace. But let me come to the real issue, that what is the effect of all of this? I am a strong believer in dialogue. And I always say that we need to be working on things rather than saying that, oh, we can't do it. It's not possible. That's not my style at all.
You shouldn't throw in the towel.
No. And it is unrealistic to think that you're going to go through the whole election season and you will not have one or two hotspots or a couple of eruptions. That is an unrealistic expectation. What you need to do is ensure that you have a mechanism for addressing those issues when they come up. And that is not to say that all of it will be done and there will be nothing, not a squeak. There will be some, but for these interventions, it would have been so much more. So when issues come up, what we need to do is come together, find the mechanism for addressing the issue, rather than saying that at this point, there's no coming back from it. You understand? So for us, it's something that we do every election. So we found it very effective. Those who have served on the committees in the past can tell you how many problems have been resolved, how many issues have been addressed in their districts as a result of the IPDC structure. Right. So it is effective. You may not be able to catch everything at the same time, but it's definitely very powerful tool.
I do concur. And you look at the composition, you're talking about all registered political parties existing at the regional and district levels. Does that mean that independent candidates and all of that will not be involved?
Nobody's excluded. Nobody's excluded.
So they can join?
Yes. I mean, if it's recognized, because, people get up and it's like, overnight, I'm a political... There's a process to becoming a political party. You know that, right?
Yes, but some of these are not... it's not a party, so to speak. It's a candidate. Now there are movements. They tell you they are not technically. That's why I'm asking. So
well,
how are you addressing this? There's the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. You know, all of that.
Are they present in that district? Really? Do they have a structure in that district?
And that is where the problem is, because these candidates, independent and whatnot, may not necessarily have representation across the board. But I don't know how they will be handled.
Where it's relevant, we pull them in.
You rope them.
Yes, where it's relevant, we will pull them in. Right. Where maybe in a particular district, they are very strong, they have strong representation, they are a bit disorganized, there's no real structure. We sort of get in there and try and sort things out and find everything we need to do to ensure that problems do not escalate, sparks do not become fire, we do.
All right. You also mentioned political party affiliated groups. You're talking about Tain, Tescon, Nasara clubs, Zango caucuses, among others. Faith-based organizations. You are embracing everybody.
Everybody.
Then civil society, community-based organizations, independent governance institutions like SHRAJ, the EC, the NMC, the GJA, security services, traditional leaders. And then at the regional level, the National Peace Council plays a critical role in the IPDCs as well.
Yes.
I see. Let's address the twin problems, though. I'm interested in how you're looking forward to taking a look at them. Ethnicity and religion ahead of election 2024. I always say that for every election we've had, two of the problems we have.
No.
Ethnicity.
Small mistake. Small thing. Ethnicity, but not the religion.
Ethnicity and I mention religion now because
it's an issue in this
You've had to talk about it at
Then I'll
point.
tell you why.
And there has also been some of the comments, like the commentary by Alan Kwadwo and then some saying that no, and then the defense and all of that don't play the religious card. From those two angles, what is your take?
So when it comes to ethnic-based campaign, it has been an element in our political culture for a long time. People always appeal to their base, what they call their base, their people and all of that. And sometimes it goes too far, because at some point you're not just promoting yourself, but you're demonizing your opponent. So at that point, it's not, it's not acceptable, it's not right, And I'm encouraging all of us to start, focusing on trying to elect people based on the right criteria, the criteria that serves us well. Not because he's my brother or my sister, not because we come from the same community or any of those things. Really, let's look at who can deliver deliver on our part of the social contract. We see that taxes, we see that agency, we see that a bit of sovereignty, independence, our power to the elected authority so that they can deliver some public goods for us. And we must get the public goods that we signed up for. So you have to ask yourself, who is able to deliver the public goods? And that should be really the basis for electing whoever. That's one. Now, and so for the ethnic thing, it's something that every election year we have to go over, keep reminding people, because it's a very emotive issue.
But if we find ourselves where we still are without that much progress, there's this video where there's a lady saying that, I don't know whether it was in the recent by-election in Ejiso, even if it's a stone, she says she'll vote.
Yeah, but the point is this. We've heard we hear these things all the time.
Yeah, but are we making any progress on that front?
Let me tell you why we are making progress. You see, this year, nearly 1 million young people have joined the electorate, right? Those who get to elect. Those people, they are from a different generation. Do not play with them. They are not playing this game. They are not playing this is my father's village. They are not playing that game. You understand? So this idea that, it's a problem that is not going out is not true. We will see, and I can't wait to see how the steps they are taking to secure their own future. Because if they go the ways of their,
it reminds me of Sam Jonah saying that his generation has failed, and not just him. He said it in Ghana, and now he was saying it at Morgan University that his generation has failed. So I guess I don't know whether our generation will.
There's almost 1 million of them, coming, joining those who get to elect, and they don't have that baggage. these were people who were born in a free Ghana, right? They never saw culture of silence. They didn't know anything like one radio station for an entire country. They don't, that concept, you know, they can't even conceptualize it. Speaking to young people last week, and I said, so what can you even imagine? They said, no, they can't imagine that you are in a country where you can't just say your mind. We're like, oh, but saying your mind to, after all, if there's hardship and all you have is to say.
They have no concept of
these
that.
people were born in the 90s, right? They were born, you know, they were born at a time when, you know, so they don't have those issues. They don't have the baggage to a large extent, especially not as much as their parents, their grandparents. They don't have, because they don't have the experience. They did not live through one morning, okay, we've overthrown the government, we are now in charge. They can't even concept, they don't understand culture of silence. So let's not make that big assumption that, oh, it's a problem that's not going away. Maybe it's not going away today or tomorrow, but it's certainly evolving in a particular direction. Now let me come to religion.
I'm sure a lot of them may not have had a good conception of the criminal libel law either.
Oh, they don't know, you know, they don't know who was sacrificed, they don't know how people were jailed, they don't know who died in prison, they don't know any of this stuff, because also we're a country that is notoriously unable to tell its history properly, but that's another story. So on the issue of religion, truth is that religion as a big issue in the political culture is not really a thing. Up until this point, it was not really a thing. That does not mean that there were not some sparks here and there, but generally speaking, it was never been an issue that we've had to focus on in an election year. Because generally speaking in Ghana, you know, we live in peace. The religions are not a point of division. And there has been no real benefit in exploiting that, because the set pieces were always different. So this year,
it appears this election may be slightly different.
No,
and you've had cause to say that
it's very
we should
different.
even name and shame people.
Oh, we will name and shame. You know, if you
tap into that.
I mean, you can't be a political, somebody who is putting themselves out as a candidate and say that, encourage people to vote on the basis of religion. It's not right.
So do you disagree then with those who may say, for example, I'm going back to Alan's example. He says he's not trying to Christianize, but he's saying we need Christ-like leaders. The principles, the dictates, the life of Jesus, well, that is his religion, but we need a leader who can exemplify those. Is that wrong?
I think that a better way of putting it is that we need an ethical leader, you know, because in all the religions, there are basic tenets, ethics that cut across. There's no religion that's out there promoting stealing. There's no religion that's out there promoting corruption.
I know some interesting things, but let's...
Okay, let's not go.
I will not mention those here.
Okay, I mean, you know, there are extremes in all cases, but generally speaking, there are no religions out there. The general things that as a society we know, values and ethics, we know these things are wrong, and we can talk about them without saying that, oh, because it's my religion, you know. You know why? Because once you characterize it on faith-based terms, you're going beyond and now appealing to a certain emotional force that can easily go overboard. You know, we know from countries where there is strong division on religious lines that it never works out for them. It never works out. Yeah. It's always like it poisons society. Yeah. I mean, when it's Sanla, don't we all go and rush for the meat? Yeah. Right?
Oh, my Muslim brothers and
don't
sisters,
people say that
they celebrate Christmas more than I do.
Yes, don't people say that, so you people won't give us, Mary will give birth in, Mary is already pregnant, Mary will give birth in 9 months. We have lived in peace in this country. Yeah. We have lived with our people who practice a different faith in the neighborhoods, with our children play together, we go to school. So it is not a real issue, but it is only now becoming, because suddenly there's something to gain from it. There is something political. There's a political element to it. So yeah, it's becoming an issue because people feel there's something to gain from it. There's something to gain today from saying don't vote for a Christian or don't vote for a Muslim because the set pieces are different. we never had a candidate that was a Muslim. So what was the point in?
So in the IPDCs and others, these are going to be core areas of discussion, right?
These are core areas. I'm saying as a commission, this particular issue is a big thing for us this year because we don't want it to become another element of contention.
We already have too many problems.
We have too many problems in an election year already. We don't now need some additional ones. We now have to go and do all the research and find out. Let this rest. And you know, there is consensus across board. All the major religions agree. You know, I'm sure they have their points of disagreement, but on this they all agree. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody's interested in it. And everybody is prepared to crush.
And that's a good first
step. Yes.
As we wind down on the conversation, though, I'd like to find out how successful, how effective and efficient your collaborations have been with other state institutions. And in an electoral year, one of those that will definitely come up, the Electoral Commission. What has it been like engaging them on the way of education? Some have criticized the EC that not much has been done in terms of even their own advertisements and others to sensitize people, even ahead of something like what we are having now, the limited voter registration exercise. In terms of disseminating information, it's been here and there, but they've also done well. For example, when the Ejiso thing happened, quickly put out 2 of our staff, this and that, we've removed them, this was the person involved there. But you look at sometimes to the errors, tabulation across, I'm sure you've heard of some of those. And some people say, we need to sanitize this. Already, there are problems. You don't need these things fueling the problems. How are you going to collaborate with the EC to address such issues?
And the very important thing about institutions is that once you give reason for people to mistrust, then it becomes a big problem. I mean, trust is the basis for evolving civilization. Like it is only because we have decided to trust a certain system that civilization gets to evolve. If you take money, what is money? It's a concept, but we've all agreed on the value of money. So because of that, we can use money as a medium of exchange. So trust is fundamental to even civilization. So trust in institutions is key. It's key particularly in an election year, the institutions that manage elections, trust in those institutions is key. So everything must be done to ensure that that trust is not broken. And when it's broken, there's always active, we actively try to resolve it. We always work with the Electoral Commission in an election year. We collaborate on different things. We tend to, our public education is more broad. EC public education is really focused on the elections. Our public education is broader. It goes beyond the mechanics of voting to why you should vote. So for some of the things we are talking about, you know, don't vote because of religion. Don't vote because of money. Don't let somebody come and give you a chunk of cash and sell your vote. These are the repercussions. This is what it means for you as a person. This is what it means for us as a society. What is it doing to our sense of patriotism, to our sense of purpose, to how we see ourselves? There's a lot. So our public education is based on, you know, why, not just the how, but the why you elect who you elect. But there are areas of collaboration that because the EC is the one that sets out, for instance, the election calendar. If we don't work with the EC, what will be the basis for telling people that on such and such a date, go out there, join the queue? The EC is the one that says that this is the way to vote. This is the mechanism for voting. So we have to collaborate to be able to make sure that our messaging is aligned. And so that gets done, you know. So it's not
interestingly, the EC's office used to be pretty close to where your office is.
Yes.
Now there's been a bit
of they've been elevated.
Elongation. So maybe the distance has been.
I don't know. It's not that far.
It's not that far.
It's not that far. Yes. Okay. So there's really no issue there. And there's an inbuilt mechanism for that to happen. Because it's the first time we're having an election, you understand?
But on the EC front, do you feel some of what people have called sloppiness here and there it would facilitate your work and your collaboration if some of those could be avoided?
Of course.
No.
That goes without saying.
Right.
That goes without saying. The fewer mistakes we make, the better.
All right.
Right? Because of the trust issue that I spoke about. And I think that on their side, let's say, they try, you know, when the mistake comes through, they quickly, the fact that they admit, they say, look, this was not, it's a step in the right direction. But as much as possible, we must avoid those sorts of things so that we can build the required trust. You know, election, a good chunk of it is a certain kind of trust that is not tangible. People must believe that the institution is doing what it says, or the institutions. Because it's not just the EC.
You must not just do what is right, you must be seen to be doing what is right.
There's a whole security architecture around the election. There's a whole public education element to the election. People must see that the institutions are all working and that there's trust. So that when they go and cast their ballot, they don't have anxiety. They don't feel that they have to do this and open their eyes and stand there, that they can go home and sleep. You know, and that they can come back and be part of the counting, that they don't need to come and stand close to the table, that they can stand back and trust the process.
That maybe they will not be asking for serial numbers. You know, the BVR and BVD thing.
You know, yes. So people must have that trust. It's very critical to the success, because if we don't work to build the trust, even if we execute a flawless election where there is no trust, you will still have problems.
Right. Final words, and in delivering your final words as well, do you have a call to your appointor, Mr. President? Do you have any calls to him this morning? I'm not saying anything.
Apart from,
do you have a
apart
call?
from what? As in give us more money, sort of.
I don't know. I don't know. I've not said anything. This is, you know at the Jubilee House, they watch.
Oh, they do. My primary audience is the citizens. But what I have to say is that if you look at the functions of the NCCE, there's an element there, there's a line that says that we must collect information for government. Like, we must go out there and find out, you know, the things that are causing inequality. For instance, we must be able to pick up that information and put it together for the state. And so, you know, there's that. And so, you know, we do our work. But like I said, when it comes to election, we must all play our roles. Government has a role to play. Government must ensure that the institutions that need to work for a successful election are properly funded, that what is required is given, that government does not interfere with the institutions that need to ensure that there's a level playing field for everybody. That's their role. They have to do that. The institutions must work diligently, put in extra effort to ensure that trust is not broken, right? That's their role. And then the citizens must do what they need to do. First, you please go out there and register to vote. It's your civic duty. It is, we take it for granted, but it's something that is a gift that our forefathers gifted us, that we get to elect who gets to lead us. And this time around, let us not use a faulty criteria for, you know, let's try and change the criteria. Let it not be about who is giving money. Let it not be about who is saying that vote for me on the basis of religion here and there. Let it not be about this, we come from the same hometown, so we should vote for each other. Or we should look out for each other, therefore vote for me. Let's really look at the issues and then assess people on who can deliver, you know, the public goods that is our right, based on the social contract reforms, the basis of the democracy that we're practicing. So please, this is my message. Please participate fully. Participate fully in the politics. Participate in the campaigns. Ask questions. You know, put people, let us know what they can do for us. You know, and ask them how they intend to do it. You know, and then say that, look, this time round, and this is what I say that apparently is controversial. This time round, it's not about the money that you give us. This time round, we are going to hold you accountable for the things that you say you would do. In the next election cycle, we will be assessing you based on those things. So maybe we should also do things a little differently and focus a bit more on the why we are electing who we are electing rather than just on the basis of the existing set pieces. Let's change the game a bit this time around.
Thank you so much, Kathleen Addy, for coming. It's always invigorating having these conversations with you. On the AM show, we still have AM business to come, and then we're going to be talking about that initiative of the Vice President's Dr. Bawumia and his aid to head porters. I see there's something else you want to check.
I want to thank Joy FM. I really want to thank Joy FM. A consistent...
Joy News.
Okay, Joy News. I mean, the Joy family.
The Joy
put it that way. Right. A consistent partner over the years. Right. Because of our funding challenges, we are not always able to come and pay what needs to be paid for airtime, prime time like this. And so I want to thank you and the management and the ownership of shareholders of Joy FM for, you know, understanding your civic duty and creating the spaces for us to come and do our work. Just hoping for more. Hoping that we do it on a more consistent basis and that we are able to work together. I had a message for media as well at our briefing, that this time round, do not allow your platforms to be used to promote fake news, incendiary language, incitement, and all of those other things. Without you, we can't do our work. So a lot of appreciation and thanks to the Joy family. Thank you.
Thank you too. We'll do our bit. You do yours, and then Ghana will be a better place. Now, I was talking about that shelter for head porters to provide them with skills training for a more meaningful life. To what extent can this promise be fulfilled? This fulfilled promise, actually, by the Vice President, work to change the lives of these females, popularly known as Kayayei. We'll be interrogating that policy, getting into the meat of it and what it means for some of the less fortunate in our society. That conversation still to come on the AM show. Do stay.
The training and hostel facilities under the Kayayei Empowerment Project have been positioned in different parts of Accra and Kumasi. So far, one has been completed and commissioned for use at Medina. We will hear from the beneficiaries shortly, but listen to Kofi Japan, CEO of the YEA, the agency which is leading the implementation of the project on the objective of it.
Effort between state bodies, private sectors, and civil society organizations is designed to uplift, empower, and provide solutions for our Kayayeis. Through the Kayayei Empowerment Program, we will provide decent accommodation and equip these women with vital skills, enabling them to secure dignified jobs and support their families. Our program adopts an extensive recruitment process, offering training in crucial skills such as baking, beading, soap making, and many more. Additionally, we cover essential soft skills like personal health care and financial literacy to ensure holistic development.
We can now listen to some Kayayei expressing gratitude to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia while endorsing his Breaking the Eight agenda.
2024, it is possible. Bawumia, we are so happy because you try a lot. When we come here, you will find a place for us to sleep and do work. Anybody who wants to learn any work, you can learn. So we are so happy for you. God bless you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate for you, Bawumia. Thank you so much. Don't worry, this 2025 you go win by the grace of God.
Almost 300 people. So almost 300 crowd pay to me science and we juma we nyina. Ebe bua o mine ebema ahokyere nso eswate.
Oh, we are just saying that thank you for Bawumia for us because she help us. We all suffer for this in Kaya. If not, like we not just get money and take care of ourselves.
We thank Bawumia for what he has done for us. So we thank him, because Kayayei is not easy for us to be carrying it every day. And we thank her, we thank him.
Meanwhile, the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, said, despite the skepticism and criticisms by the pessimists, he knew the policy was going to be possible.
When I made this promise on behalf of government, there were many who thought it was not a realistic promise. They thought it was not possible. They said it was a 419 scheme. But I knew that inshallah, it was possible for us to do it. We had COVID in 2020, and we had to recover from it. And so what we are doing for Kayayei today is part of a whole program of activity of our government to help the poor and the vulnerable. And so you will see why it gives me so much pleasure to be with you today at the launch of the Kayayei Empowerment Program. We have proven the naysayers wrong. I am honored to be part of this initiative, which is dedicated to empowering head porters and offering transitional job pathways and enhancing their socio-economic status.
The main objective of this Kayayei Empowerment Project is to empower head porters across the country with technical and vocational education and training. The program aims to train 5,000 girls between May and November 2024, 600 Kayayei per cohort each month. The program will provide practical skills and knowledge to participants, preparing them for specific trades and occupations. Reporting for Joy News, Samuel Mbura.
Welcome back on the AM show. It's time now for us to interrogate this Kayayei Empowerment Program that was launched yesterday. And in fact, all the major newspapers this morning are carrying it as their top stories. And I must say that this, like the lady we just watched said, that this has come to help them. Some of these people travel from so many parts of the northern region to see greener pastures, either for education, to feed their family back at home for various reasons. I'll be joined for details on this program and then also the feasibility, discuss how sustainable it is. First by my colleague Samuel Mbura, who's in the studio with me. Samuel, it's good to see you. But before we come to Samuel, I will have you know that we'll also be joined in the course of the conversation by Alexis Daniku, who's Executive Director for Center for Development Initiatives, with over a decade experience in the sector and social welfare issues by profession. We'll also be joined by Joyce Lanyo, who is a Country Director, International Child Development Program. Samuel, it's good to see you, like I said.
Good to see you, City.
So this Kayayei Development Program, we understand that it is to shelter these Kayayeis, head porters, and also train them. But let's look at the data that speaks to the real situation on the ground before we talk about the actual issue. So it turns out, according to UNFP, that is the United Nations Food Program, and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, that 109,100 people are head porters in the country as it stands now. This means that, an estimated 109,100 people have traveled from various parts of the country, sometimes even from Togo and neighboring countries, to come and see greener pastures here by carrying load for markets in the market. Now, if you want to focus on Greater Accra and Ashanti, which are where the major cities where these people come to, in Greater Accra alone, there are about 85,600 head porters. And in the Ashanti region, there are 22,500 of these head porters, most of them women, females. And that tells you that this facility, this empowerment program, is actually a step in the right direction. If you build something that can house and train or develop the skills of 109,000 people, then that's something to be applauded. Now, Samuel Mbura, what is this all about?
So we know that in 2019, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, made a pledge or a promise on behalf of government that if elected for the 2020 elections, they would ensure that they implement policies that will be tailored towards at least reducing or alleviating poverty, if not eradicating. And this Kayayei project was one of them. So the main idea was to get decent accommodation for them in strategic areas, just like the highly populated cities like Accra, Kumasi. There's also one in the Bono East region as well. So what they seek to do is to get them into the accommodation, get them trained, give them the required skills to make them employable and also make them skillful, so that at the end there'll be an exit plan, so that when they leave these training centers, they will not go back to be head porters, but have their own jobs doing or being employed by others. That's why some of them will be trained in bakery, bees making, and other professionals in the informal sector that you can think about. So at the moment, they are targeting 5,000 head porters, mostly girls, and it is between now to that of November 2024. So it is going to be in cohorts. So each cohorts come every month. So 300 cohorts per each month. So if you go to the facility, for instance, that has been commissioned in Medina, for instance, in which was captured in the report, it is a 3-story building. It has the classroom facilities, it has a sick bay, it has the hostel facilities available as well. So in the same structure, from your hostel to your classroom, for you to go through the training. The implementing body on this particular project is the YEA, that's the Youth Entrepreneurial Agency. So they are going to ensure that this is implemented under their poverty eradication projects.
Right. Now, I mean, most of the main challenges that these head porters face is accommodation. They sleep in makeshift structures that poses serious health risk on their lives. So how many facilities are there, and what is the plan for more?
All right. So the main plan is to have about 14 of them in Accra and Kumasi.
Okay.
In Accra, for instance, the strategic areas are Agbogloshi, Medina, and Ashaman. Medina one has been commissioned. The other ones are still under construction. We are also told that the Kumasi one is also in progress.
Right.
So in all, they should have 14 of them constructed and housing these Kayayei to train them. They'll also be given some stipends as well that will be paid by the YEA. So this project is funded by the District Assembly Common Fund.
Okay.
They also have supporters from the Ghana Enterprise Agency. They have the Technical and Vocational Ghana TVET services.
Even the Youth Employment Agency, I'm sure they are spearheading.
Yeah, that's the implementing body on this particular project. We also have Father Campbell. You know he has been into philanthropic works and as well as Get Fund. So these state institutions and private institutions are coming together to ensure that this project is realized to the benefit of the Kayayei and also targeting the SDGs on poverty eradication in the country.
Before I let you go, Samuel, what is the plan to actually intake these head porters? Do you have to register? Are they selecting them at random? And when you go in, what's the duration that you stay? What determines if you are good enough to get out? What is the plan there?
Exactly. So yesterday at the launch, for instance, there were NIA officials. They'll be joining us subsequently, but we have the National Health Insurance Authority and all those who matter. They come. When you get there, they'll register you. YEA officials will register you. They'll also register you for your Ghana card, as well as the Ghana card has been synchronized with that of your health insurance. So once you have your Ghana card, you're automatically enrolled into a national health insurance scheme. So they'll go through that registration process, and after that, they'll admit you like they're admitting you into senior high school, into the hostel there. So they'll definitely do some background checks to be sure that these people are actually what? Kayayei, not just anyone at all coming in and declaring myself. I mean, Kayayei, we are more than less seeking asylum there. So what they have to do is that they have to do thorough background checks to be sure that you are really from the Kayayei side before they can now admit you and then train you. So every month they have 300 of them. And from now till May, that is where they have the target of 5,000 Kayayei to be trained. But there's an exit plan. And that exit plan will be how they can be employable, get their own jobs and all that. So all these are in place to ensure that at least our streets gradually will not have Kayayei and then people will be unemployed, and the situation in the country in terms of our economic management will not be murky.
Thank you, Samuel Mbura, for shedding light on this issue. But now let me go to my guests. First, starting with Alexis Daniku, who's Executive Director, Center for Development Initiatives. Alexis, thank you for joining the program. This initiative, I'm sure you've been following the development of the story. and how it's a step in the right direction because for whatever it's worth, it takes these headquarters off the streets, give them some skills, and helps them to integrate into the society without being a burden to the rest of us. How do you feel about this, first of all?
Very much for the opportunity. I feel excited as a Ghanaian. I feel excited as a social worker by training. And I feel excited as somebody who have worked in the area for more than a decade. Now, I will want to talk purely as a development practitioner and then leave out the others so that we can interrogate. If you have worked with this category of our people, you will come to realize that they face a lot of challenges, very enormous. Even the sleeping arrangement is something that you feel very, 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 very angry as a Ghanaian. Look, anything at all that will provide a relief to them is something that we should embrace as a country. So I see the opportunity to provide such a facility is something that is welcome. It's something that is in the right direction. It is part of the comprehensive nature in which we should approach the issue. Kayayei has come to stay, and let's get this deep into our system because it has become a survival strategy. It has become a poverty reduction strategy in the sense that the phenomena you will see that people come at, it is more like seasonal. People come at a particular point in time and then go back. Now, the bottom line is that we need to, we will come to that when it comes to the courses and then all that. But let me just say that this initiative is something that is welcome.
Right.
We should embrace it and then now begin to interrogate the component. In fact, transitional shelters are all over the world. Even in the developed countries, transitional shelters is one of the strategies to dealing with homelessness. It is one of the strategies to dealing with streetism and then the like. That is why it is transitional. But we now need to be very careful that it doesn't become a kind of an accommodation for people who probably now think that if there is accommodation, they will come and then that is it. So I'm also happy about the components that they are looking at, the skills training. They want to do a lot of skills training. I will have the time after my colleagues have taken their bite to look at the duration of the training. We will look at the marketability of the skills that they are going to be impacted with. We will look at what is the plan, because it is not enough to train them, but you must be able to provide them with input support and monitor them to ensure that those skills are put into practice.
Okay.
It is not just about the training. So we'll go into those details. But I just want to say as an opening remark that this is welcome. This is something that as a country we should embrace. Let nobody say that, okay, let nobody say that, okay, when you put in a structure like this, it will encourage them to move from the north to the south and then all that. We have been there before. We have seen all these arguments put up. But for me, it now provides them an opportunity to have a place to lay their head and to be able to be protected against all the hazards that they go through when they are sleeping in the outside. Some of them are rape, some of them are so many things that
all right, Alexis, I have a sense of your thoughts now. Let me now go to Joyce Lanyo for her initial reactions before we get into the conversation. Joyce Lanyo, thanks for joining the conversation. I'm sure you've been following the ask to this point. What are your thoughts though? Initial reactions. How does this come to you?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers. If you ask, I would just like to congratulate the Vice President for this initiative. It's a very, very important initiative, and there is this yawning gap for Kayayei, and not Kayayei alone, but marginalized girls, vulnerable girls who are also out there and are looking for some opportunities like this to improve their lives. And so in my initial comments is to say that's a well done activity, but there are a few strands that we need to consider as we go along. So in my initial thoughts, I just want to congratulate the Vice President for bringing this initiative to daylight for our Kayayei to benefit, and to say that there are other components out there that we need to consider as we go along to improve the lives of these our girls.
These are the I want to stay with you for a second. These are the components that you say we need to consider. Does it include, or I mean, what are they? We know that these migrants come to Accra and Ashanti region because they're looking for greener pastures, right? Because of the economic situations in those areas. And so if there's a shelter, a place where they can come to, not permanently stay, but go there for a duration of time, get some skills, get some education so that they're employable. What are these other things we should consider? Are you saying that that's encouraging more people to migrate to the south for greener pastures, which is contributing to the overpopulation we're experiencing here in Accra and the other major cities in Ghana?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You know,
so what are these issues that we should consider?
What I want to say is that when these girls are given the accommodation, that's not the end of the story. Okay. I understand the employment component is going to be taken care of, and other issues around health. We have run a similar project that we call the Strategic Approaches to Girls Education, and then we map out these marginalized girls. We give them skills training. We talk to them about their reproductive health. We give them small literacy training, numeracy training, and then we give them something to actually top up whatever skills component they are interested in. For example, hair braiding or nails or beauty or decoration and all that. I want to say that there are similar girls, apart from the Kayayei, who are with us in the communities, who have dropped out, probably due to pregnancy, teenage pregnancy, or who have also dropped out due to the issues around poverty. We have a million number of them in our communities that we can also adopt this same strategy to help them acquire certain basic skills and then find something doing. For us, it took about just 3 months to train somebody in facials, how to deal with facials, buy a few things that they need, resources that they need to be able to do the facials, and they are out in the community helping people to do this. Nails, decoration, and all those things. But more to it, these Kayayei have children. And what are we doing to their children? Are we just giving them an accommodation to do whatever they are doing? And what package do we have for their children in these
But Joyce, this is a good start, is it not? I mean, what you're saying is futuristic. The problems that will come eventually, or problems that exist, but we're tackling it from one step to the other. So this is a great step, a great first step, is it not?
Absolutely. I congratulated the initiative and said it was a good one. But I'm also bringing in certain strands of other areas that we can be looking at. Otherwise, like you said, it's going to open the box to get more women up north or girls up north to come down to say, oh, when we come, we'll find a place to lay our head. And once you get a place to lay your head, is that the end of the story?
All right.
No.
Point made. No. Please hold for me. Let me go back to Alexis. Alexis, you said this Kayayei business has come to stay, obviously, because they don't seem to be going away anytime soon. Do you agree with some of the assertions that Joyce Lanyo is making about this is not the only thing we should be focusing on?
Well, I mean, yes, let me also add that as somebody of northern extraction, I know what the issues are. Look, I've said this over and over and over, that agric is the mainstay of the 3 northern regions, and now even other regions have come to add. Due to the seasonal nature of the agricultural activities, during the dry season, the women and the men as well embark on this seasonal movement down to be able to look for something so that during the farming season, they can return and augment whatever harvest they have made. So it has become a survival strategy. If they remain there, the little harvest, and sometimes due to the poor climatic conditions and all that, the harvest we all know has not been that good in recent times. Together, they will end up consuming the little that has been harvested before the next farming season. So it is a survival strategy.
Okay.
Now, I agree that getting them accommodation is not enough. Shelters all over, and the literature speaks volumes to that. It serves as a mobilization center, and I think that is where the people should keep their eye on. I am looking forward to see how many social workers they are going to employ or they are going to post to be part and parcel of this whole implementation. They are talking about intake. That intake of these girls can best be managed by trained social workers. And we have a lot of them in the system who are unemployed. Some of them are part of the youth employment program. I will be very happy to see them posting a lot of social workers to deal with case management of these girls.
All right,
so that they
Alexis,
can come out with a comprehensive program that will help to address some of the issues beyond the skills training that there. Some of them actually need to be supported to go back to school. And they are there not because they want to be there, but they are there to look for money so that they can go back to school. So we should take advantage of the resource center as a mobilization end.
All right, thank you for those insightful thoughts. I have to go back to Joyce Lanyo for final words. We have to go. Joyce, bring us home.
Thank you very much. And once again, I want to say that it's a very, very good initiative. We are very happy about it. At least we have a place for our Kayayei, and there will be some form of other practical activities to help improve their skills. But I'm also speaking on behalf of other girls out there who are not Kayayei and would want to also benefit from a certain project or program that will empower them to also have a meaningful life. And then their children, because we are child-focused, what will happen to the children? There should be something in place for the kids, because these Kayayei have children. What are we doing for the children? When they go to ply their trade, what happens to the kids downstream? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joyce Lanyo, Country Director, ICDP. And I also spoke with Alexis Daniku, Executive Director for Center for Development Initiatives. We'll take a quick break. When we are back, we'll tell you about some interesting developments from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's a bazaar. We'll be right back.
Welcome back on the AM show. Let's talk now about the Foreign Affairs Ministry-led Made-in-Ghana Bazaar. To tell us a bit more about this initiative and what this power-packed event has on offer, we have joining the conversation Mr. Abu Osman. He is Director for Economic Trading and the Investment Bureau at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. Mr. Osman, good morning to you. Hello? Can you hear me, Mr. Osman?
Good morning. Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Right. It's good to have you join the conversation. I hope you're well.
Very well, very well. And good morning to your viewers as well, and then your listeners.
All right. So let's get into why this bazaar. I know this is the third installment, but just give us a bit of a head start in terms of what has happened in the past and why we are back here with this Made-in-Ghana Bazaar.
Yes, so the Made-in-Ghana Bazaar is a flagship program for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And as you are aware, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has what we call our economic diplomacy agenda. And as part of our economic diplomacy, we promote Ghanaian goods and services, especially the non-traditional ones. So this bazaar gives our exhibitors, especially the micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, the opportunity to their products. And so this is what we did. We actually started this in 2018 after the Economic Trade and Investment Bureau was established in 2017. And the first one was in 2018, the second one was in 2019. And as you can imagine, couldn't hold one in 2020, 2021, and 2022, owing to the disruption we had through COVID. So we are here now with the bank, and this year's bazaar is huge. It is huge, and the format is different. We are not only exhibiting, but we are also giving opportunity to our small and scale industry to hone their skills when it comes to packaging, when it comes to equipping themselves as SMEs to take advantage of the AFTA. And also we are talking about the creative industry, their role in national development.
And since you talk about it, you say this installment is going to be huge. What is going to be different about this specific outing or this specific bazaar?
Yes, what is going to be different, like I did say, is that we have 3 panel discussions. And we have very experienced panelists to speak about their experience. For instance, we are going to talk about the private sector, their perspective about Ghana's economic diplomacy, what they think about Ghana's economic diplomacy. And the rationale for this is for the ministry to learn so that going forward with the private sector, which of course is the engine of growth, to be able to promote the private sector and the activities well. We also are looking at partnering with Abdul Latif Abubakar, and we're going to have a show on the second coming of Nkrumah, free of charge, and we implore our listeners, our visitors, and the general public to speak to the AICC on the 25th of May at 4 p.m. to watch the show.
I see, but the program itself is slated for the 23rd to the 25th day of May.
It's slated from 23rd to 25th. The 23rd is the opening ceremony.
Right.
And then we have the meeting, we have some panel discussions. 24th, we have also some panel discussions, and the meeting is ongoing from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. each day. Our patrons are welcome to the AICC to shop authentic Ghanaian products at very, very affordable prices. We are going to get it back to the best.
Do tell me, though, what are some of the unique economic benefits that this will bring to Ghana, too, especially those who are going to be participating? Walk us through what the key benefits are going to be.
Very well. As a foreign ministry, our, if you like, agencies are our missions abroad. And when we have this bazaar, what we do is to collect all the information from our exhibitors, and then we publicize this in all our missions abroad, and then also the diplomatic meetings here in Ghana. And so what we are doing for our SMEs as part of our economic diplomacy is to give them the opportunity to have our Ghanaian goods, our non-traditional goods, penetrate the foreign market.
I see. And in terms of putting this out there, advertising this, the ministry, your partners, how much have you done to put this out there?
Yeah, we've gone a great length. We have media partners at Multimedia and GBC, and we have also jingles running on all the major networks. We have LPM being done. We have today in graphic and all the major newspapers, we have adverts, and then of course we are also promoting this through social media. But we also, as a public sector institution, we invited all public sector institutions to participate. And I need to say that we are having this program with our partners. And you have DICC, you have Ghana Export Promotion, you have Exim Bank, Association of Ghana Industry, you have Ghana National Chamber of Commerce, you have Bank. So these are all institutions which are also medium of propagating this event.
Right. How is this bazaar being funded this year? And are there openings for people to assist or entities to assist when it comes to funding?
Very well. Got very generous sponsors to fund our bazaar this year, and we are grateful to institutions, our platinum sponsors, the National Petroleum Authority, the Ghana Gas Company, and then the GCB Bank Limited. We also have other sponsors, STMG Ghana, we have Press, we have Stanbic Bank, SP Agency, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, the Ghana Free Zone Authority, the Ghana Shippers Authority, Ghana Tourism Authority, Ghana Port Authority. We have the Ghana Standard Authority. Of course, like I did say, our media partners are GBC and Multimedia. And then our clothing partner is the APL. So these are companies that have helped fund this year's bazaar.
I see. We also know that the Association of Ghana Industries, the AGI, has proposed that some of these bazaars should go around the country to other cities, just like the Independence Day celebrations. What is your take on that, and how do you think that can be effected?
Yeah, we welcome that decision, and we are looking forward to practicalizing that. But it's a decision that the ministry welcomes.
I see. And maybe an interesting question in the past, since this is the third, and there have been some in the past, what have been the gains or losses from these bazaars so far? I mean, at some point, we must do a cost-benefit analysis, right? What have been the gains or losses of the previous ones, and are we hoping to up the ante in the third one?
Like we say, perhaps the loss is that we, even though it's an annual event, we didn't hold it for 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Okay.
But the gains have been massive. Like I did say, the essence of having this is to promote Ghanaian made and service, Ghanaian goods and services, and especially through the micro and the small medium enterprises. And so we have, through this bazaar, given exposure to most of exhibitors, and some of them have gotten orders from throughout the world. They've got calls from throughout the world. Our diplomatic meetings here in Ghana have been able to purchase products, and some of these exhibitors have also been able to benchmark. But what we also do is that we give them the opportunity to attend trade fairs and expos outside Ghana. So they've been able to network, they've been able to benchmark, and we believe that it's helped them in their packaging and all other things they need to do as businesses to go.
I see. Final words, your message for would-be exhibitors and all of that. What will be your final words for us, sir?
My final word is this, that exhibitors can rest assured. We are being able to ensure that there is massive safety and traffic through the AICC from 23rd to 25th. And we also, by this medium, appeal to the general public that the place to go, 23rd to 9th to 25th Saturday is the AICC. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for joining the conversation here. That is Mr. Abu Osman, Director for Economic Trading and Investment Bureau at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. It's all about the third Made-in-Ghana Bazaar. But stay with us. When we return, it's about the Wesley Grammar Old Students Association, WESGOSA, at 30. They have a legacy project they're going to be telling us about, seeking old students, people of goodwill, to come support Wesley Grammar and make it, well, as we say, Krabeshe, that institution. But before we take our next break and bring in WESGOSA, escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, that is Japa, Dubai. You've seen the rest. Now it's time to see the best. Take a break from work and take a break from the South. The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, Japa, Dubai, is the place to relax, rewind, and re-energize. I think I need to go there. It is away from the stress of the South. Now, this is what awaits you. One, an unforgettable safari experience. They have an amazing array of wildlife, including lions, hippopotamuses, zebras, ostriches, and many others, using their spacious and well-secured game tour vehicles or using quad bikes. But there's more. Water sports such as jet skiing, boat or canoe rides, and various family games to keep you and your families excited every day. But it doesn't stop there. There's still more. Great tourist attractions in the Upper West region, including the Mushroom Rock, the Slave Caves. So all you have to do, they're inviting you to escape from the South, escape to the North, escape to the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, Japa, Dubai, as it's called, for an unforgettable safari experience. Just call 0501 694 280 or 0248 844 463 to book your reservations or make further inquiries now. We return to WESGOSA at 30 after the break. Welcome back on the AM show. As promised, WESGOSA is in the building, Wesley Grammar Old Students Association. And it's all about their 30th anniversary and the legacy project they have in tow. Joining me in the studio, there's Nicholas Ashi. He is president, WESGOSA, and then Bridget Amwa is deputy secretary. Please clarify for me, is it the general WESGOSA body or is it the planning group that you're president of?
This is the WESGOSA 94 body.
WESGOSA 94.
94, yeah.
Hey, 94, Charlie. All right, good to have you join the conversation. Yeah. Tell us about WESGOSA at 30. I'll start with you, Mr. Ashi.
WESGOSA at 30 is a celebration that all students that finished WESGOSA, that is Wesley Grammar, in 1994.
Right.
We coming together to do something for our alma mater and to celebrate our 30th year anniversary.
Wow, I see. That's interesting. Has there been a pattern? You know, some schools have a pattern. So every year group, when you reach 20, 25 years, I think 20 years, there's a legacy project and all of that. Have you also had that pattern?
We'll be having that pattern for year groups that have passed.
Okay.
But it's not so constant because it looks like we mostly come in with projects, not really waiting for the 30 years.
Okay.
Because some of them have done their projects in their 20th. Some recently, the 84, been 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Came in with a project for the school.
40 years.
40 years.
Then that one they should have added, because that should be in multiples of two and more.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. But interesting development there. Bridget, I probably should have started from here. Wesley Grammar, when you look back, you are the class of 94. How much do you feel the school contributed to making you the person you are now, or both of you the people you are now?
Thank you very much. Wesley Grammar School
has played a very major impact in my life and that of other colleagues, in the sense that we had our secondary education over there. We were nurtured very well, and we were prepared, we were exposed to the world. And through Wesley Grammar School, we are doing marvelously well, to the glory of God.
Of course, you must pay your dues. And I guess that's why, as the 94 group, you are hoping to give back to your institution. Tell us a bit about your legacy project. What is it that you are trying to do for your alma mater?
Okay, thank you very much. We, as 94-year group, we are initiating or planning to uplift the image of the frontage of our school. Okay. Yeah, so exactly what we intend doing.
I see. That's exactly what is behind us here. Yeah. That's what you're trying to change.
Yes, please.
Mr. Ashley, so what exactly are you going to do about the frontage of the school? Is this the redesign?
The redesign of the frontage of the school now.
Okay.
The one that went off is the current state of the entrance.
Okay, the blue one. That's the current state. One. And this is what you are hoping it will become?
We are hoping it to become now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much is involved in this project?
The whole project estimated is almost getting to 40,000.
40,000.
Yes, that's 400,000.
400,000.
400,000 for the project.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're calling on all our year groups, members that are interested to contribute, even not of our year group, that have love for this school, to come to aid in the donation to raise funds for the project.
Okay, so you're not limiting it to Wesley Grammar past students from 94, whichever year group, even all the way from, it was established in what,
1956.
56?
Yes,
yeah.
I see. So throughout, you're looking at all these year groups to come through.
Exactly.
Okay. And what has the response been like, though, from the 94 year group? Mr. Ashley, before I come back to you.
Yeah, the response has been good. But as we started the project, or the legacy project, our year groups have been contributing much. Like members of the other year groups that have interest have been also showing us the love for what we've initiated. So it looks like it's not resting on the only 94, but all people that have passed through 94 are happy for the initiative that 94 has taken, and they are all getting involved. Our contribution is forthcoming, but seeing it as a very big project, would have wished all that to come in and contribute.
Okay, so the school itself is 68 years,
yes.
But your year group, 94 till now, it's some 34 years. 30 years. And that is what you are putting together. So your 30th anniversary, and it's your legacy project. But coming to you as well, I mean, what have the responses been like? How are you roping it? So, for example, I'm an old student of Bishop Herman College, and there are different groups. I see so many different groups that we are on, all of them trying to leverage and do something. How are you managing in terms of tapping into the various groups? Because I'm sure there are some from even 56 who have never, who may think, oh, this is an opportunity for me to chip in, to do something for my alma mater. How are you harnessing that?
Yes. On our own ways, we are also trying to solicit a fund from other members. An example is my husband, who happens to be an old student as well. He is a 92.
Yeah. 92-year group.
Yeah, he's part of the 92-year group. He has decided or has promised us a very huge amount of money.
Oh, wow.
So
we thank him in advance.
Yes.
We thank Mr. Amwa.
Yes.
I see.
And so through that means, we are getting others to come to our aid.
Okay.
Yeah.
He must be grateful. He didn't just come and benefit from the education. He also came and got a wife. So he must contribute extra to the school.
Exactly.
But what then can, I'm sure you are also reaching out to sponsors, people of goodwill, big corporations. What would be your message to them?
Our message is the project lifting the edifice of the school, like the entrance. It's like a general something. It's a social responsibility that we're taking upon ourselves. So we want all these well-meaning people to put in whatever they can put in to uplift the image of the school. The school has been there for long. We go to other schools and we see them having these black driveways.
Right.
We have not had that, but I'm sure when we put this thing down, the municipality would have come in, given us the black driveway.
Okay.
That one
you mean asphalted roads?
Asphalted road.
Okay.
So that one will go a long way to improve the standard of the school.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And are these, walk us through some of these pictures. Are these some of the 94-year group members?
Yeah. This picture was 1st May.
Oh, 1st May.
Yeah.
Workers' Day.
Yeah, Wesley Grammar adopted 1st May as a homecoming day.
Yeah.
And we had our second activity, that is the sword cutting.
Okay.
On the 1st May, and that is the image there.
Okay.
Yeah, so the image there was to do the sword cutting for the legacy project.
Okay.
And that is the legacy project that is down.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So that is the theme, Inspiring Innovation, WESGOSA 94, sword cutting, and it's your 30th anniversary legacy project. That is the 1994 year group. I see some phone numbers there. Are those numbers that people can reach out on or send Momo on? What numbers are those?
They can reach us on the 3 numbers that are there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bridget, I see a bit of a code there as well.
Code.
Yes, a QR code.
Yeah.
QR code.
When it's a scan, I think you can get all the program.
I see.
In connection with the legacy projects.
So what next now? Are there key dates to take stock of? You can walk us through those as we wind down on the conversation.
Yeah.
So you do some, and then Bridget can.
Yeah. We started with the launch. That was 24th of April.
Okay.
Then this follows the 1st May. Currently, the next activity is the breakfast and fundraising meeting. Okay. And that is planned for the 1st of June.
Okay.
1st of June. And that is why we are here to throw this invitation to all well-meaning people.
Okay.
So that they can be there on the 1st June.
Okay, so breakfast and fundraising. Where is it happening? And then we can wrap.
At the school. At the school premises.
School premises.
Yes, please.
Okay, that's the 1st of June.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly the
assembly hall.
Of the school.
The assembly hall. Well, thank you so much. It is WESGOSA 94, 30th anniversary for them. This is their legacy project. Let's all come on board. Let's support them. Let's do some great things for Wesley Grammar School. Thank you very much. We were joined by Nicholas Ashi, who is president of the 94-year group, and we also had Bridget Amwa, deputy secretary. But up next, we have AM Business. Despite the remarkable strides of small and medium-scale enterprises, Ghanaian SMEs continue to lag behind in terms of their brand presentation. Now, these SMEs say Ghanaian products are unable to penetrate the international market due to the high cost involved in packaging and labeling. Our very own James Ashen has been engaging some of them. This is what they had to say.
Product packaging serves as a reflection of the product inside and the brand as a whole. As consumers become more conscious of the environmental impact of their choices, there is a growing demand for sustainable packaging solutions. While there are clear benefits to using sustainable packaging, there are also challenges that brands need to navigate.
Okay, with packaging, we want to go eco-friendly. So because of that, we decided to use glass. And there are so many challenges that this comes with, because sometimes you don't even get the packages here in Ghana. So you have to import And if you want to get it to here in Ghana, it's very expensive with taxes and all those things. Yeah.
So you mean you guys import this?
We sometimes import and get it locally, but those who even buy it locally, buy it and sell it to us, they import.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it expensive?
Super expensive.
When you say super, it means beyond your imagination.
This product you are holding is 65 Ghana cedis, and packaging is taking about 20% of that value. So that should tell you how expensive it is. The stick to is a different thing that we add to it.
Yes, the cans are made in Ghana, and we buy them here. We don't import. Yes.
Since the cans are being made in Ghana and you guys don't buy, how is it like? Is it costly, expensive, or it's okay, moderate for you guys?
It's very expensive. It's very expensive. It's actually made in Ghana, but it's not that less. It's very expensive.
Okay, so when it comes to the packaging, we thought of it as to how does this product fit into the usage? So someone maybe have kids and putting it at their kitchen, if you use the glass bottle, maybe the children might just touch it and it will fall and get broken. So that's why we have the plastic for that. And if you want to put this in the fridge for it to cake so that you can add it to your shea butter for your skin, this also fits. Then if you want to present someone with a gift that they would appreciate, we have this. Okay, so with the glass bottling, we have to import it. Yeah, but with the others, we get them in Ghana. But apart from that, the other things that goes into the production all are based in Ghana.
These SMEs are unhappy with the state of the economy. They are bemoaning the high import charges on their imported packages for the product they produce.
The duty, everything is like duty, and we buy them in dollars. So as soon as the dollar goes up, then it's really expensive.
Something you get right there in Ghana is being sold in dollars?
Yes, please.
And how is that affecting your operations?
It's really affecting us because I think early this year we couldn't produce for like 3 months because the dollar was going very high. So we couldn't produce, yes.
And currently the CD dollar is somewhere hovering around 14.80 and it's still going high. How are you guys coping?
That's it. So now we've stopped producing now. Yeah, because the way the cans are going up, the price are going up is too much. Yes.
It doesn't tally, I mean, your profits, you're not getting any normal profit?
No, for now, nothing.
There are people who want this. We've segmented the market and we want people who are supporting the environment. So because of that, we are trying to go eco-friendly. So people actually purchase this because of how we package it. And knowing very well that it is glass, and with glass it's difficult for the glass content to leach into the honey. People prefer that one to the plastic we use, yes. So one way or the other, it's helping the environment, that's one. And that's our main focus. Apart from that too, we get the actual people we are communicating to. Okay, so with the packaging, with the pouches, we have to ship everything from China. And when it gets to the ports, we have to go and clear it and all that. So a lot really goes into it, like paying and all that. And when it comes to, we have to, clean it, check if everything is okay, if there are some torn ones and all that in it, before we can start packaging the product. So yeah.
How expensive are they since you need to import it all the way into the country?
It's a bit expensive though. It's a bit expensive because, shipping, and it takes time. We have like duration of 3 months, 6 months and all that before it will get here. So yeah.
Someone may probably say these are just bottles and normal, let's say, polythene or something of that sort. Has it not been, are you guys not getting similar thing here in Ghana? Or?
No, so actually we want quality. And in Ghana, even though we can get something similar, it wouldn't be this thick and, let me say, good as this one. And it's difficult to get, actually. It's difficult to get.
Talk about quality. What we have in Ghana is not really quality.
No, I didn't say it's not quality, but, you won't get what we want. Okay. We won't get it.
Something as hard as this?
As hard as this, yes. We won't get it here, so yeah.
But what has been the engagement with those producing some locally? Have you guys been raising some concerns that, you guys should up your game of that sort?
No.
The cedi depreciation is not left out in the operations of these small and medium enterprises.
I think if it can be sold in cedis for us, I think it will be better. Yes, because what we know is it's made in Ghana, but we are buying it in dollars. Yes, and paying duty and everything, it costs a lot. Yes.
But do we have some who manufacture some here in Ghana actually?
That's what I know, that it's made in Ghana. But the taxes they are supposed to pay, we are paying them. Yes, that's
Is it also affecting those you work with, your maybe employees, colleagues, or something like that?
Yes, yes, because if there is no work, like you're just there, what are you doing? Yes.
So what you have in stock now, how many months can it take? Can it take you to the end of the year since you intend not to produce again?
No, it can't. No.
So at this point, you're just waiting for the cedi to come. The dollar to come that a bit, then you proceed.
Yes. If let's say the dollar comes like 10 cedis or like 11 cedis, that one will be much better. But 14 cedis going to 15 cedis, no, it's too much for us. Yes.
So what exactly do you sell?
Yes, we have the groundnut soup base, groundnut already prepared with tomatoes and onion already. So just season your meat, just add it to it, you add your water to it, your groundnut soup is done. We have the jollof sauce, no preservative, no spices, nothing. Just your tomatoes, your onion and garlic. So you just add your rice to it, you have your jollof ready too.
Looking at, you had to import and also buy some in Ghana. Cost-wise, what you import and what you get in Ghana, how is it like? Is it expensive? What is the comparison here?
So what we are importing is a bit different from what we get in Ghana, so I cannot compare the two in a way. But apart from that, I would say that we try to take into consideration the cost and the cost analysis to ensure that whatever we are giving to the clients is of the minimum cost, so that we get people to purchase it. So yes, it's a bit expensive, but we've made provision for that to ensure that we don't push all the costs to the customer.
It's a little expensive as compared to maybe imported, because the person also imported and then we also bought from the person. So if at least we had the funds to import all the materials, it would be a little cheaper.
But someone may say, since it's done in Ghana, it should be of a moderate price.
The person also doing it here imported the raw materials. So possibly the price will surely go up, thinking of how the dollar is also running. We are all running after it, so.
Talking about it being expensive, how is it affecting cost of operations?
Okay, so let's say maybe you'll be able to sell something at a price of 70 cedis. You have to think about the packaging and all that, and that will add up to whatever you are selling. So yes, it affects it. It affects the price of the end product.
Sustainable packaging materials can sometimes be more expensive or less readily available than traditional materials. However, with advancements in technology and increased awareness, more sustainable options are becoming accessible to businesses, making it easier to adopt eco-friendly practices. James Echen's report for Joy Business.
Well, thank you very much for staying with us on the AM show. Hopefully you've enjoyed the package that we brought you today. I, together with Sweetie Abochi. But, well, Joy News Desk is still up next. You want to stay for that. From us to you, we love you. Have a wonderful day.